he is not only like very sinister and has no idea what he's doing, and people are like, oh no, he absolutely knows because he's the richest man in the world. Like, yes, he knows how to hire smart people, but don't conflate that and believe that he is the genius because he ain't.
Go on, Jasmine Crockett. Yep. By the way, played by the fantastic Frances Calliers in this Saturday's Not the White House Correspondents' Dinner show that we're very excited about. By the way, Angela V. Shelton plays a fantastic Abby Phillips.
Philip.
And I play
Philip.
Philip.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
And I play a passable Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh, it was hilarious.
Thank you.
We laughed.
I was laughing.
All right. Yeah, get your tickets. StephanieMiller.com. You can get the link there. It's only $20. Oh, my God. A cast of thousands. All our beloveds. By the way, speaking of Elon Musk, he has a thing with a guy now at a place. He's got to go because I'm sure it has nothing to do with... What did I read that? Is that number correct? His Tesla profits fell... they're 71% less net income compared to a year ago.
Yes,
that's not good. I mean, I'm not a businessman or anything, but...
If Stephanie Miller revenue fell 71%, we'd lose like $3.
Yeah. Well, right? Rounding up. Yes, he said on Tesla's disastrous earning call yesterday that he'll soon be spending less time. He's probably going to spend more time with his 11 billion children that hate him. He said the large slug of work necessary to get the Doge team in place and working with the government to get the financial house in order is mostly done.
Oh, so Big Balls is going to stay.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think probably starting next month, my allocation to Doge will drop significantly. Oh, don't go.
Oh, shucky darn.
Oh, no.
He also addressed the surge in protests against him, saying all of the demonstrations are paid for by his political rivals.
All of them.
Sure, yeah, all of them, all over the world. That would result in a 71% drop.
Reason that people actually do hate him.
Meanwhile, he's caught zero waste and fraud. All he's done is gotten more government contracts for himself and blown up the agencies that were investigating him. Oh, my God. We see you. Okay, meanwhile, oh, my God. So you knew this was going to happen, right? Because Trump is a giant. See, you knew that he was going to, right? He was going to cave, he was gonna whatever. They'll claim victory no matter what happens, but oh my God.
He's caving more than a Chilean miner. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh my God.
What?
Chris Louise.
What?
Yeah, so first of all, can someone in the press room just ask him, you clearly have no idea what you're doing. Or just quote economists. Economists say you seem like you have no idea what you're doing. Because it is all over the place, right? So who is it? His Treasury Secretary said that, it's not sustainable, the trade war with China.
Right.
So then the markets go up. So then Trump now says tariffs on China will be much lower than the 145% they're at now. And then we're going to be very good to China. We're going to be very nice. Right, because he's caving. Oh, my God. He said 145 is very high. It won't be that high. It's not going to be that high. It'll come down substantially, but it won't be zero. We're going to be very, very good. What happened to the art of the deal? What happened to the big tough guy?
Not very good at it.
Really?
The art of the deal!
Wow. Right. And then Besant said the trade war was unsustainable. He expects a de-escalation. Then privately at a speech right after that, he said, I do say China's going to be a slog in terms of the negotiations. Caroline Levitt.
Oh, hey, girl. Hey, what now? Oh, God.
Indicated they wouldn't be playing hardball with China, right? Because as it turns out, China has all the cards and not us.
Right.
And by the way, negotiations have not even started, for those of you that are keeping track of, Wow. By the way, Caroline Levitt.
Oh, hey, girl.
Oh, I just love that.
I know, I do too.
It's just like she just walked into Tridelt every time.
Yeah.
Hey, girl.
Hey, girl.
Tough day?
What now? Oh.
You want to meet in the chapter room?
You need
Have
to
a
talk.
talk.
You need to talk after this. Did Brad not text you back last night?
So she is, she's, what did she say? How many trade deals? She said something. Oh, I don't know. She just mentioned a number.
We might have that.
Oh, she said they've received 18 proposals from other countries for trade deals. Yeah. Do you feel like all of them are from the Niagara Falls area and we wouldn't know them?
Yeah.
That's why?
George Glass.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're from George Glass.
I get
so
that
many
reference.
Do you
can't-
really?
I do.
Oh my God.
George Glass.
Yes. Okay. That was from the
It has
Brady
a very-
Bunch movie.
it has a very-
originally in the show.
It has a very fictional girlfriend feel to it.
Yes.
Right. Yes.
Sure you do. Sure, you got all these marriage proposals from home. Yeah, a bunch of, okay. I feel like maybe this might have had something to do with, him backing down. I don't even know what he's doing because it depends on who you talk to. Like what? Okay. Who said if the White House wanted a test of how firing Jerome... Oh, that was the other... He just said yesterday, Jerome Powell can't be gone fast enough. I want him fired, want him gone. And then yesterday he's like, fake news. I don't intend to fire
I never
Jerome
said
Powell.
anything
That's
like
something
that.
made up by the media. I'm like, what you just said?
Here's
You
what
tweeted.
it is right here.
Okay.
Yes. You trough centraled it.
This is what's going to happen. You know what? Just fine. Just do it. Go ahead and claim victory on whatever. And just, oh my God. Who said if the White House wanted a test of how firing Jerome Powell would go over in the markets? It succeeded on Monday. U.S. stocks and the dollar plunged while yields on long-term treasuries climbed after Trump renewed his attacks on the Fed chairman.
Eduardo Correa.
No, it's that liberal rag, the Wall Street Journal again.
all right.
Who said Mr. Trump thinks he can bully everyone into submission, but he can't bully Adam Smith, who deals in reality. Markets know tariffs are taxes. Taxes are anti-growth. The Trump tariffs are the biggest economic policy mistake in decades, and extending the 2017 tax reform and deregulation may not compensate for all the damage. Who said that?
Alexander Nataf.
No, same thing, same rag. The Wall Street
all
Journal,
right.
known, it's almost like the Communist Manifesto,
Right.
Who said smart presidents pay attention to the market signals and adapt? The adaptation now would be to negotiate a quick end to the tariff barrage, claim some trade deal victories, and call it a day. But markets are spooked because they don't know if Trump listens to anyone but his own impulses. Who said that?
Mike O'Hearn.
No, that would be the Wall Street Journal. Oh, pardon me.
was that?
Sorry, I'm just throwing papers willy-nilly.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, this is like cue the meltdown. Wall Street Journal exposes Trump's biggest mistake in decades. And he's such a giant, right? Like you knew this was going to happen. And again, who can keep track of what's happening? Because the Treasury Secretary says something behind closed doors different than what he just said. And then Trump says something different that he said. Okay. How about this? By the way, here's real world consequences. We know about this out here in California. Chinese container ship traffic to California ports is down 44%. The pullback in trade between U.S. and China as a result of Trump's steep tariffs on Chinese goods and fears of a recession starting to show up in major ports data. A steep drop in container vessel traffic headed to L.A. and Long Beach. Those were the main U.S. ports that received Chinese goods.
Yeah. I learned from Mayor Bass at the State of the City address that the port of Los Angeles Long Beach is the busiest port in North America.
Yes. But this is, by the way, Trump just turned U.S. ports into minefields for Chinese oil tankers at $5.2 million port fee per docking. Not a tariff, not a sanction, a logistics ambush. This isn't trade policy. It's a floating embargo. I mean, okay. Someone has got to just ask what he appears to have no idea about any of this. Trade, tariffs, nothing, right? I mean, I don't even know. I'm going to assume no matter what happens, they're going to claim victory and, art of the deal and, something. Yeah. Bam. Okay. Elon Musk. Yes, Elon Musk with some parting advice on his way out the door.
Yeah, this was on his earnings call with Tesla yesterday.
Yes.
Tariffs are still, tough on a company when margins are still low. I just want to emphasize that the tariff decision is entirely up to the President of the United States. I will weigh in with my advice with the President, which he will listen to my advice, but then it's up to him, of course, to make his decision. I've been on the record many times as saying that I believe lower tariffs are generally a good idea for prosperity, but this decision is fundamentally up to the elected representative of the people, being the President of the United States.
Did he call Peter Navarro dumb as a bag of bricks again? And then Caroline Levitt says, "Oh, boys will be boys.
They're just being silly.
They're Sigma Chi's. Nothing you can do."
Sigma Chi's always fought the Sigma News. So
Yeah, right?
yeah.
Oh, my God. There's nothing you can do. They're boys. Okay. Here's some other real-world consequences. We have $250,000 in inventory stuck in China. We don't have $400,000 to pay the tariffs, so we had to freeze all shipments and let go of most of our people already this year. Chris Webb says you're going to keep hearing stories like this because Trump doesn't GAF about these folks. This is what you knew was going to happen. The real world consequences. Then he sees the stock market, people screaming, Wall Street Journal, and it's okay.
And it's affecting small businesses all over the country.
And by the way, Lincoln Project says they want you to think boycotts and protests don't work. 71% drop in income says otherwise. Keep going. Thank you. It's all working. And I say, Chris, all of the above. Oh, Eric Swalwell, who's going to join us Friday, did a town hall where a Republican didn't show up. So keep it up. I say all of the above. Yep. What do you call it? Our Senator Schiff asked for them to, retain documents on the Signal chat thing. And of course you go, well, of course they're not going to. That's the point of Signal. Right. They get deleted. But you got to, you have to give Schiff credit for trying to operate in a normal world of laws because, at some point, hopefully these people won't be in power and we've got to restore the rule of law. He's got to do it. I mean, of course, they're going to say pound sand or, oops, sorry, we didn't know Signal deletes all the records, which is part of the reason they're using it in the first place, which is why it's illegal in the first place.
Yeah, on the screen cap, it says this will be deleted in 30 days. It says, right there on the screen cap that we saw.
But it's to avoid records laws like this. So anyway, but all of the above. All of the above, resistors. I'm wearing my Wokey McWilkerson t-shirt in honor of the woke Pope. What has happened to the right wing in this country? Beating up. He's not even cold yet when they were beating up on him. Everyone from Megyn Kelly to every right winger. This is the party of, right?
Yeah.
What? Because he said, don't be a D to gay people? That's all he said?
That's all he said. He didn't say that, women need to be priests. He didn't say that, gays needed to be priests. He just said,
you just said love everyone.
Yeah.
Don't be a D, like Jesus said.
Right.
Yeah.
Just stop being Ds to each other. Okay.
I don't think Jesus put it that way, but that was his message.
No, I
did.
think Jesus did.
I bet you he liked a good D joke.
Wearing his Birkenstocks.
Come on, they all wore that loincloth.
Yeah.
Speaking of things Jesus would do, Kilmar Abrego Garcia's wife was forced to hide in a safe house after the government published her address.
The government.
Government.
Not just random people.
Right.
The government.
Right. Fearing for her own safety and the safety of her 3 children, she has moved to a safe house of government officials openly mock her husband and paint him as a criminal. The order they posted an order that did not have her address redacted. They know what they're doing. Yeah. This is what fascism looks like. This is what trying to terrorize people looks like. I'm telling you, Chris, they are not winning. They are not winning on this. People, as what do we call Rude Pundit call that meatloaf Joe Rogan even knows, disappearing with people without due processes.
He's a meatloaf.
If a human being was a meatloaf, it would be him.
Joe Rogan.
That's all I'm saying. Yeah. All right. Speaking of meat, it's Man Meat Wednesday.
It is.
We've got Bob Seska, Malcolm Nance, Carlos Alzraki, all coming up on the Big Shoe. 19 minutes after the hour. Well, hey there. Well, hey there. This spring, don't just clean, organize once and for all. It is time to pull all those important documents out of junk drawers, file cabinets, stacks of paper you have piled up, and those password-protected retirement and bank accounts on your computer. You know what I'm talking about. Your next of kin is going to need access to those details someday. That's why the Nokbox was created. The Nokbox is a complete system that helps you organize all of your accounts, possessions, and estate plans, and each Nokbox comes with a comprehensive checklist that helps your next of kin manage your estate when you're gone. From your insurance policies to your funeral directives, your dog's vet information, that's important for me, even the code to your storage unit, the Nokbox helps you organize it all. If you've got a household, you need a Nokbox. And now, for listeners of The Stephanie Miller Show, save 16% off the Nokbox of your choice. Visit thenokbox.com today to get yours and use the code Stephanie for 16% off. Trust me, your future self and your family will thank you.
Hey, John Fugelsang here. You guys know what's happening to the country, and corporate media is not helping. But when the White House Correspondents' Dinner fires comedians, it's time we take back the mic. and brutally mock them in the process. Join me and the Political Voices Network for Not the White House Correspondents' Dinner pay-per-view special on Saturday, April 26th at 9 p.m. Eastern. Not just another comedy show, it's a no-holds-barred takedown of media hypocrisy, political BS, and sanitized news with over a dozen fearless comics and influencers bringing truth with punchlines, including Hal Sparks, Alonzo Bowden, Trey Crowder, a.k.a. the Liberal Redneck, Glenn Kirshner, Allison Gill, Brooklyn Dad Defiant, Dino Badala, JoJo from Jers, TV's Frank Conniff, and many more with special guest Miss Elaine Boozler. Catch the Not the White House Correspondents' Dinner live on April 26th instead of that other thing, or stream it on demand for 2026, because that's a good number to think about. Go to www.meethook.live/not and get your ticket, because when they silence comedians, we get louder.
Hi, and welcome back to day 92 of the first 100 days of the Donald Trump reign of terror, chaos in a blender, pandemonium, the destruction of humanity and democracy, all of the above. Today, after the death of Pope Francis, Marjorie Taylor Greene was welcoming his death by saying death to all the fake Christians. You got to love that. Donald Trump did issue some nice things about the Pope, but remember, the Pope was all about helping the poor and all about education. Donald Trump doesn't care about the poor and, of course, has been sued by Harvard for trying to cut off their $2 billion grant because he just didn't like what Harvard has to say. So much for free speech. At the same time, Pete Hegseth, well, he's in trouble for exposing himself figuratively. Literally, he'll probably come later. But by sending out signal apps to his family on an attack in Yemen. You can't make this stuff up. The moron is not respected by the military, and who's surprised by that? 1 week left. We're headed into the home stretch. Stick around. The tension is nail-biting.
Disruption is one thing. Madness is something entirely different. He is a reality show businessman. This amateur hour for our federal government. That is what is most petrifying. So to the Democratic Party, I ask, what about you? The least the opposition party can do is join the fight.
First order of men meet coming right up. Bob Seska. I love this part of the story. China Monday warned other countries against making trade deals with the U.S. that could negatively impact China. Trump said, "We're doing fine with China. I'm going to be very nice to them." And he's not going to play hardball because he realizes that they actually were the ones with the cards. And,
yes, they hold all the cards.
The world was moving on without us. Yeah. And, okay. Molly Jong Fast, our friend, says there is absolutely zero reason to cave to Trump. Thank you. As we've seen from Colombia, his administration will absolutely go back on its word. The only way to stay safe and protect your institution is to stay loud, stay visible, stay engaged. We have a democracy. the 60 Minutes producer who quit, the CBS News at the end of the show last night stood up for him and for journalistic ethics. Thank you.
Defending our nation from the clutches of fascist idiocracy, we proudly present Heroes of Democracy.
Oh, here's another one. Karen in Chicago. Hello, Karen.
Well, good morning. And yeah, the people that are not heroes of democracy are the Republican Party.
Yep.
You know, for all of the failings by the media not to cover this nonsense with him meeting with these investors, you know, like JP Morgan and all these people. And then, whoa, look at, they're making money. You know, I mean, it's just, I don't know how to cover this without saying this is absolutely insider trading, what he's doing, and market manipulation. And so I just, you know, for me, though, the Republican Party, any of them can get together and stop this, get us out of this constitutional crisis. And show just as much courage as Lady Ruby and Shay Moss showed.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. What was I going to say? Oh, Abby Phillip, by the way, played spectacularly by Angela V. Shelton in this Saturday's Not the White House Correspondents' Dinner. She said to that, who's the right-wing douche, Scott Jennings?
Scott Jennings, yes.
She said, Scott, you keep repeating something no one ever said. No one said Trump can't have an opinion. That's what they always do, is these straw man arguments.
Absolutely.
She said, the question is, should the Fed act based on it? Trump is not an economist, and as far as I can tell, he does not even have a good grasp on how trade works. Thank you. Let one person in the press room ask that, right?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, by the way, what's his name? Right-wing douchebag with that stocking cap. Tim Pool is now in the White House. Did you see that? Asking a softball question to Caroline Levitt. Sorry.
Oh, hey, girl. Hey.
Somebody tweeted, when you have a press available at 1 and you have a rap war with Eminem at 2. Yeah. He's wearing a
beanie.
Yeah, yeah, but Zelensky didn't wear whatever. Okay, but he's the one that wasn't it revealed he's paid by Russia to disseminate, you know, disinformation. I can't anymore. I can't. Okay, Pete in Wisconsin. Hello, Pete.
Good, buddy, every morning. And actually, this is a good dovetail off of Karen in Chicago's comment.
Okay.
I believe I was watching the news yesterday. I think it was Representative Don Bacon, who's like the only Republican who's upset with Hegseth.
From Nebraska.
He made a comment, something to the effect of, you know, if he would have admitted the mistake the first time, the second revelation wouldn't be that big of a deal. To which I say 1,000 times no. 1,000 times no, because if Hegseth had a D instead of a magic R next to his name, you know the Howler monkeys would have been calling and screaming for his scalp
indicted.
Immediately.
Hillary Clinton would have been indicted already, not just
Exactly.
fired.
Right.
I mean, this is...
And this goes perfectly with Karen. It's the cowardice of the Republicans, and I'm looking straight at Lisa Murkowski right now. I'm looking straight at her.
Yeah. You think you're scared? What about the pilot that just got his?
Do you want to inspire change and be?
Listen, this is why it's important that potty mouths like you and I exist, because when he says, and that monstrosity was 3 days ago at the DOJ, where basically any speech that criticizes him is illegal. I mean, I say fuck that and fuck you. You know, I mean, and I'm laughing. I'm like, really? CNN and MSNBC are illegal, and Fox News actually had to pay $1 billion for lying to their audience about the election. That was illegal. That's why they had to pay merely $1 million. But I mean, I'm like, how's that, trip to kiss Trump's ring at Mar-a-Lago going, Joe and Mika? How's bending the knee going for people that are kissing the ring, right?
Right. And it's again, another cautionary tales. It's like, that's like such a sweet thing now to even think about cautionary tales. But just like with these Democrats who went along with the cloture, and then most of them didn't even vote for the fucking CR because they knew it's garbage. They all complied, obeyed in advance. Tim Snyder says, don't do that. Right. They did it anyway. And what happens, like you said at the beginning, the courts were holding, and now that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the courts were shut down. It wouldn't have mattered if federal workers were going to, be put on furlough during the shutdown. All of those things are happening anyway. And you just look like an idiot standing there holding his fucking water.
Well, hey there. This spring, don't just clean, organize once and for all. It is time to pull all those important documents out of junk drawers, file cabinets, stacks of paper you have piled up, and those password-protected retirement and bank accounts on your computer. You know what I'm talking about. Your next of kin is going to need access to those details someday. That's why the Nokbox was created. The Nokbox is a complete system that helps you organize all of your accounts, possessions, and estate plans, and each Nokbox comes with a comprehensive checklist that helps your next of kin manage your estate when you're gone. From your insurance policies to your funeral directives, your dog's vet information, that's important for me, even the code to your storage unit, the Nokbox helps you organize it all. If you've got a household, you need a Nokbox. And now, for listeners of The Stephanie Miller Show, save 16% off the Nokbox of your choice. Visit thenokbox.com today to get yours and use the code Stephanie for 16% off. Trust me, your future self and your family will thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the First Lady, Melania Trump.
Hello, I am Melania, the First Lady, and I just want to say I appreciate all the enthusiasm for my husband and his resilience. Put on the UN headset, it is not my fault. New York is where I'd rather be. I get allergic smelling hay. But I just want you to know that I am not stealing any part of this speech tonight from Michelle Obama or anyone else. I was raised a poor black child on the south side of Chicago, where my daddy was a cop, back in the bad old days, back in the USA. Ask not what you can do for your country, but what your country can do for you. And we have nothing to fear but the fear itself. And also Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Thank you, and goodbye.
I'm curious, Jesus, you said that we have to love our neighbor. Did you mean it like love your neighbor even if he voted for fascism, or is there a clause we missed? Do we still have to love them if they voted for racists and fascists, Jesus?
You know what? This is a bit of a tough one for me, I have to admit, because I do. It is in my DNA to love thy neighbor. That's sort of my whole thing.
Yeah,
I guess I would say you need to try to believe. You got to try to look for the best in people. And I think a good reminder is that we get down in all this fighting on social media time and time again. It's exhausting and you think everybody's evil. But when you actually go and meet your neighbor, maybe physically next door, you realize, oh, yeah, they did vote for Trump and they do want to roll back my rights, but they are still a nice person.
It's very confusing because they're just brainwashed. Yeah.
But this is why I like your son so much. He won't let me hate these people. He won't let me hate them, even when they're begging for it.
I don't know what they're arguing about anymore. I'm going to guess what do you call it? Some drunkenness. As I'm going to say. Oh, Pete Hegseth actually was this a slip? He said he's not with the cocktail sipping crowd yesterday.
Get along to go along. And, start doing Meet the Press and going to the Council on Foreign Relations and spending time with all the new cocktail sipping crowd. That's not why I'm here. I'm here because President Trump asked me to bring warfighting back to the Pentagon every single day. Right. That is our focus.
Oh, my God.
Alcohol on his mind, obviously. In the morning.
Yeah, always on his mind.
Can I say the funniest part, though, is Brian Kilmeade's slip in introducing him? Hang on.
Here to set the record straight himself, the current Secretary of State, Pete Hegseth, former host right here on Fox and Friends. Pete, great to see you, Mr. Secretary.
Great to see you.
Oops. Uh-oh. Getting ahead of the news cycle a little bit because he knows something we don't know.
Freudian slip, I guess.
Who's former, future, and present talk show host, Bob Cesca. Speaking of dreamy, hunky men, why, Bob Cesca joins us now.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special broadcast.
You're cute and I love you, Bob Cesca.
Where you coming from?
Bob is calling us from Washington.
You Cesca things.
Go ahead.
Washington, D.C.
Just follow the money.
Oh, hi. Hi, artist formerly known as Bob Seska. Hi.
Hi. You know, Pete Hegseth doesn't sip. That's his distinction here.
Right.
He uses
He
a
guzzles.
funnel. He's from the cocktail funneling crowd.
I
circuit.
smell Jägermeister all over him.
Oh,
whenever he
totally.
speaks.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my God! Just like a first year college student, just getting into the Jägermeister. Yummy.
Yeah, I mean, Bob, it's just incredible. I guess they're sticking with him for now, but I mean, to try to like spin this like this is not classified. You know, you don't have to be an expert to go, well, it should be, shouldn't it? To say this plane's going here then, and bombing this target, right?
Right. It's funny. We've been trying to sort of unravel the forensics of how he got some of this information onto his personal cell phone, which he used for this other signal chat with his brother and his wife.
Yeah.
So he was getting classified information through a secured terminal that is only for, obvious secured government business,
right,
and top secret information. So he was able to somehow transfer that over to his personal cell phone and then share that with his family and whoever else was on that first signal chat. And then again, when he was on the signal chat that had Jeffrey Goldberg on it accidentally, whoops. And so we're trying to figure out, did he copy and paste all that information, or did he hand peck it out on his phone or whatever? Who knows? But it's just a colossal breach of national security. And I am very relieved that the Signal Gate story is back and it's front and center. And I hope this actually ends up ending Pete Hegseth's political
you
career.
remind me, though, can't they at least put like a drunk filter on his phone? You know how you have complicated math things before you can
send text.
Right.
Yeah.
Something. Just some kind of phone condom for him that might protect us.
That's right. I mean, how do you press those little buttons with shaky hands? I don't know how you... hands is like shaking like a blender.
You retweeted Ron, who said, very brave of Pete Hegseth to go on Fox and Friends to discuss his latest controversy, another hard-hitting interview. And you just said MAGA equals whiny cowards pretending to be alpha. Exactly the same story with Trump and this ridiculous trade war, which he's obviously backing down on already and claiming, like, I have no intention to fire the Fed. Where did you get that idea? Fake news. It's like, you said it and tweeted it yesterday, right?
There's an intriguing thing going on inside the White House right now, which some people have termed as elder abuse, where what they're doing is they're waiting for Donald Trump to be by himself. And then they're rushing into the Oval Office to try to strong-arm him or convince him, cajole him into doing what they want him to do, which is apparently Howard Lutnick and Scott Bessent. And they're trying to figure out ways to sculpt Donald Trump into the things that they need him to do. And in this case, dropping his ridiculous
And he obviously
trade war.
saw the Wall Street Journal. He obviously saw when, Bessent said this is not sustainable, the trade war with China. He saw the stock market come back up. So he's like, oh, okay, I'm going to be very nice to China now. Like he just, after being this big bully, he's like, decides he's going to. It's so incomprehensible. It makes no sense one day to the next. And that's what the markets are reacting to.
Exactly. That's exactly right. It makes no sense because now the two, at least public goals of implementing these tariffs are completely ineffectual. Right. If he wants to use these tariffs to kind of strong arm our trade partners or our allies into doing things, conceding things to the United States, being less unfair to the United States. Right. That's not working because obviously he's willing to pull back. He's the boy who cried wolf. No one takes him seriously on these trade war threats, these tariff threats anymore. Mm-hmm. And then on the other hand, as far as actually helping the economy, well, that's certainly not working at all either. Yeah. So what is it? What's the purpose of tariffs now? Yeah. It's got to be the thing that is starting to get some traction, which is the idea of maybe he's just using tariffs to manipulate the markets.
I mean, he saw the graph yesterday on the Wall Street Journal. It said worst day in the stock market since the Great Depression. I mean, we're getting ready next week to be the first 100 days, the worst 100 days of any presidency ever. And he, you can see it in the poll ratings. Karl Rove going, he's had a 10-point swing in the first, down in the first however many days. I loved you said one of the many things that pisses me off about this tyrant is how he routinely inflates ordinary president things into huge successes, demanding credit for being a real life big boy president. Look at me. I talked on the phone with someone from an entirely different nation. Wow. It really is true.
He's been doing that.
I talked to Netanyahu. We agree on everything. Yeah, no kidding. Like raising Gaza so you can put Trump Gaza up there, right?
Yeah. He's like a movie president who is just, it's like the movie Dave or something like that. You get into the White House and you're there in the Oval Office and you're amazed by the trappings of the presidency and you can't believe that you're actually there. And look at, there's people who come along and give me a Diet Coke. That's incredible. I get on a phone and the phone is on the desk and I talk to foreign leaders and they talk back to me and we talk to each other and maybe there's a translator. That's an incredible thing. It's like he's amazed by the ordinary, mundane president things because I think he's still amazed that he's actually there.
It's like him pretending. It's like him pretending to drive a truck. He's like, me. I'm presidenting. Right. I'm a big boy presidenting now.
That's exactly it. It's like when he was behind the wheel of that semi-tractor trailer, amazed that he was there with the giant steering wheel.
God, this nightmare shall never end. You said the same thing I did about, you said Kilmar Garcia. You were just talking about Levitt lying about him. He's a foreign terrorist, criminal MS-13 gang member. He's an illegal criminal gang member. And you just said, I can't wait for the massive defamation lawsuit against these lying ghouls. I mean, I think it was Senator Van Hollen said that yesterday, that they don't say any of this stuff in a court of law because they can't prove it. And it's, when a judge has said the opposite. A judge has said there is no evidence. There's more evidence J.D. Vance killed the Pope, frankly, than that Garcia is a gang member. I mean, but that's the thing is they think it's okay to say it on TV or in the Oval Office and just lie and lie and lie. And now, like we said, his wife had to move to a safe house because they published her address on purpose.
Yes, it's absolutely on purpose. It's absolutely for the purposes of intimidating his family, which is something familiar because one of the reasons why Garcia fled San Salvador is because the street gang Barrio 18 was trying to extort him and his family by threatening them and threatening them with physical violence and other forms of intimidation. So that's why he and his brother bugged out and ended up in Maryland.
Yeah.
So he's getting the same kind of treatment from the United States. And what do? The land of the free, home of the brave. We send him back to a prison loaded with gang members.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of treatment he gets. But at the same time, I don't know how you survive as a MAGA disciple in this climate, because on one hand, you're probably seeing the fact that the Donald Trump Department of Justice is saying, oh, yeah, we did this by mistake. We didn't mean to say this guy was sent to this prison in error. And that's what they're saying in court. That's what 3 separate people have said in court, including a Department of Justice official, including the Solicitor General, who used to be Donald Trump's personal lawyer. And then on the other hand, in public, they're saying all these terrible things about him as though he deserves to be there.
Yeah.
And so it's this constant just cognitive dissonance that just to say anything in MAGA is cognitive, but it's it really is. It's no wonder steam isn't shooting out of their ears like Uncle Fester, trying to figure out which end is up, and that's why they're so insane.
I went with President Ukulele. I went with he looks like Paulie Walnuts or any of the Sopranos cast members. You went with what was the movie?
A Night at the Roxbury.
Night at the Roxbury. Because
Will Ferrell, Chris Kattan dancing to that Hathaway song. Yeah, that's this guy.
Daisy said, "Damn it, Seska! Thanks to you and the Goth Ninja, I can't see a picture of Bukele without What Is Love playing on a loop in my brain."
That's right. Yep, that's what he looks like. Those are the kind of people those are Donald Trump's people.
Yeah,
that's the kind of quality, totally not trashy kind of people that Donald Trump likes to partner up with.
Yep.
Good call.
Yeah.
The latest, this is your small government party story, is Bobby Jr. saying he's putting together a national registry of autistic people. I mean, oh my God, we can't have a gun registry. And as Art said, RFK Jr. putting together a database of names of autistic people is gross and probably illegal because he's reportedly using private medical records to do so. What happened to HIPAA?
Right, I was going to say,
And
how
also-
can you compile a list like that without going through someone's medical records?
Well, and also, it's not a disease. Like, it's like he's
Right.
calling it a disease registry. It's just,
This is just an utter disaster from top to bottom, but zeroing in on HHS, what a mess. And focusing on the wrong things. I understand that maybe some food dyes might be, harmful, but what they're focusing on minutia at the expense of things like cancer and Parkinson's research and the big ticket items that really need, public focus, government focus, and financing. I mean, just the idea of pulling back on certain kinds of research that will help mRNA vaccines with regard to things like pancreatic cancer. They're withdrawing support for.
That's the number one, doing the number one breakthroughs on cancer diagnosis is in an ICE detention center. Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
I believe from Harvard, right?
Yeah, I don't know how anyone at this point is coming to the United States as a tourist, as any sort of visitor, because they could end up locked up very easily.
Yeah.
I don't know how we're going to do the Olympics.
Yeah,
and
there it is.
World Cup soccer.
Truthful G says right now the only person in human history to come this close to curing cancer is being held in an ICE detention facility. Think about that for a minute. And then I had to read it again, Bob. RFK Jr. launching a government registry to track autistic Americans using private medical records. And I just keep saying this over and over. My dad, Goldwater, back to 11 billion years, it was supposed to be the small government, keep government out of your life party. Antonio said, Trumpists, government should stay out of our lives. Also Trumpists, Trump should control what schools teach, what businesses say, and what judges rule. I mean, here we are, right?
Yeah. Well, and the other offensive thing about RFK Jr. and autism is the way he made it seem as though everyone who's on the autism spectrum is somehow incapable of living a normal life.
Right.
And I think that's one of the things that is offending a lot of people, even more so than putting together a list. And anytime you have an authoritarian government putting together a list of anyone, that always ends up leading to tragedy in the worst possible sense, historically speaking.
Well, it's smells like Nazism as usual,
Oh yeah. And they're really just dangerously close to that. And I want to be clear about something. I think there's a lot of debate in terms of who's driving Donald Trump down this road, and I think Stephen Miller deserves more attention.
Yeah.
Not in a good way, but as far as being Donald Trump's Rasputin, being his worm tongue, the guy who is kind of Donald Trump's brain. Remember? Oh yeah. Remember, Karl Rove was described as George Bush's brain.
Yeah.
Well, Stephen Miller, I think, is Donald Trump's brain in all the worst ways, encouraging all of Donald Trump's worst instincts and superimposing his own
and
horrendous
also
bigotry on top of it.
Because Trump's brain is, as you've mentioned, I think, a syphilitic pudding at this point. Syphilitic worm pudding. Just dead syphilitic worms. Pudding, mashed
and occasionally
potatoes.
it pops out of his ear like Stimpy, just
exactly.
Oh, it's my brain. It's always falling out. Pops it back in the ear hole.
His brain is made of ambrosia.
Speaking of brain worms and Bobby Kennedy for a moment, Noel said, I didn't know the level of revulsion I could possibly achieve until I saw Bobby Jr. talking about the sperm of young men with Jesse Waters. Yes, we talked about this. That's why there's a sperm race here in LA.
Right.
Because something, men's sperm count, something.
It's declining rapidly.
Motility is down, or testosterone, I don't know, something.
All because of Mountain Dew and video games.
There you go. And, wokeness.
And if Trump enters that contest, he'll win. Because everyone lets him win. And then he'll be on Truth
the fastest sperm.
Fastest sperm, greatest sperm ever. I want to thank everybody. Such a great time at the sperm race.
I won again. Tournaments. My sperm won several tournaments. I have several trophies. I get sperm trophies.
Very, very tremendous sperm.
All right.
God,
on our dueling Trumps, we must say goodbye. We love you, Bob Cesca.
Love you, Stephanie.
The Bob Cesca Show, essential to America.
That's
all right.
right.
50 minutes after the hour, this portion of the show.
How about that?
You know what? It does bear repeating. America. It bears repeating during these perilous times.
It's so many things, so many, there's still a few good things and so many bad things these days.
Were you a fan of Mary Hartmann? Is that where that came
from? Maybe particularly that moment when somebody fell asleep and fell into a bowl of soup and died.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where America is.
Yes.
I mean, I just, every day, Steve, I don't even know which thing as a journalist you pick to talk about, but I was struck yesterday by Trump saying, well, we can't give everybody trials. How fast are the founding fathers spinning, right?
Yeah, well, at least there's an awful lot of judges that are still believing in the rule of law and due process that has a reason to hold on to a little bit of optimism.
And the lying. So what do we call her now? BS Barbie, Baghdad Barbie, yep. Caroline Leavitt. Here she is yesterday on this. Here we go.
He is an illegal alien, a foreign terrorist, and a criminal MS-13 gang member who violated our country's laws by coming here in the first place. And shame on Senator Chris Van Hollen and the entire Democrat Party, who wasted Easter Sunday going on every television show in the country to advocate for the return of an illegal criminal gang member.
They've changed their story. She said yesterday on Fox and Friends, we did not make a mistake. We've always maintained this was an individual who needed to be deported. I mean, we have always been at war with East Asia, as I keep joking. It's like, no, the Trump administration admitted in court where all of this belongs that they made a mistake. That he mistakenly was deported. So now, of course, as I say, he's done everything from, kill the Menendez parents to kidnap the Lindbergh baby. I mean, it's just, and they keep making up stuff that they don't say in court, Stephen, right?
Yeah, well, look, Caroline Leavitt will say anything. We were already clear about that, and most of it is lies. And she does it, she does it with such ease, so comfortably, which should be shocking to everyone's, sense of decency. But the thing about that is she tells us that he's a terrorist. Trump tells us that he's a terrorist. He shows this fabricated photograph, on his Truth Social, where they obviously photoshopped in MS-13, and they give us this stuff and think that we're supposed to treat this as if it's evidence, as if the courts are no longer a relevant part of how we come to understand the difference between innocence and guilt.
And so now they're saying, oh, well, the Justice Department lawyer who admitted it was a mistake is fired. So everybody, you only get fired for telling the truth in the Trump administration. Yeah. But the other thing is, again, because in a court of law, he couldn't lie. So that's the problem. Is I think do we have?
Yeah, look,
do we have?
I think
Chris Van Hollen, real quick. Just this, he made this point.
I know what he's said many times in court, and that's the proper forum for debating this. And as we know, the federal district court judge in this case said, and I brought it with me again, and I'm going to read it: no evidence linking Abrego Garcia to MS-13 or to any terrorist activity. Period.
Yeah. And thank God, I think it was Caitlin Collins said that on CNN, right, to Thom Homan. He said, I hear what you say on TV, but you haven't said any of this in court, right, where you have to prove it, right?
Yeah, and look, the thing about Van Hollen, I think he was very clear on the Sunday shows. He's not there to vouch for Abrego Garcia. He's there to say that the rule of law matters, due process matters, and in America, those constitutional rights, those civil liberties are for everyone, not just who we like or who we don't like. Right. That can just be ignored and kidnapped and taken out of the country. Yeah. So I think he really stood up for the fact that we're facing right now, which is Abrego Garcia is only one of, it looks like many of those that were kidnapped and taken to El Salvador, who may have had absolutely no criminal activity, but they're just a stand-in for all of us, because I think and it's been said, not just by Van Hollen, it's been said by a Reagan-appointed judge. Once you let this fall, once you no longer treat the due process with the same seriousness, it's only one step from somebody like Abrego Garcia to every American.
Stephanie Miller.
Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Oh, we gonna rock down to
Stephanie Miller.
Avenue, and then we'll take it higher.
Oi! Oh, pardon me. Oi! Oh, sorry. I'm back. Okay, 56 minutes after the hour, SARS-CoV account says, just spoke with my CDC sources. RFK Jr. has reportedly instructed officials to stay silent on bird flu transmission, avoid testing farm workers with symptoms. This is a direct attempt to suppress vital information. Pandemics begin with secrecy and cover-ups. This one, Attorney Ryan says, I want a government that keeps feces out of the milk supply, but apparently that's just another one of my radical Marxist pipe dreams. We officially don't have food safety inspections, particularly.
No. Good luck. Maybe that's what happened with Bella yesterday.
Maybe. Oh, see, right. Let's class this up around here. This is in honor of your unregulated diarrhea. Oh, God. Sorry, Bella, it's a little too soon. Too soon after the tragedy?
Yeah, I'm not nauseous anymore yet.
Oh, this is where it gets gross.
Okay. All right. We'll get out there. Hi, Sam. Sam and
How are you this morning?
Oh, after that, I don't know.
Unregulated feces in my
come
milk.
on, these are natural functions. They're allowed.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
I really want someone like Malcolm Nance and General. I need to know how to deal with this idiot Stephen Miller. He is just the Nazi extraordinaire, and he clearly is poisoning the thought process of very shapeable people, if you will.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how to contend against his rhetoric.
We blame Montana
Avenue.
Avenue. We blame Montana Avenue in Santa Monica, don't we, Chris?
Oh, yeah.
Apparently,
absolutely.
someone explained it. He was mad that he lived below Montana Avenue
Yep.
instead of above Montana Avenue. He's always an angry little boy.
He went to Santa Monica High School instead of Brentwood High School.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Stupid Montana Avenue. Now we have fascism. Yes, in case you hadn't heard, the FDA is suspending quality control program for the testing of fluid milk and other dairy products due to reduced capacity in its food and safety nutrition division, because we are, as you know, making America healthy again. Also mid-Maha, which is making America wealthy again.
All right.
Right. They terminated 20,000 employees at the Department of Health and Human Services, which includes the FDA. What could possibly go wrong? They also suspended existing and developing programs that ensured accurate testing for bird flu in milk and cheese and pathogens in other food products. Enjoy, America.
Yep.
God.
Way to go.
So as a technical sergeant, E6.
I served in Vietnam in 1969.
I am an U.S. Army veteran.
Have you ever helped a fellow veteran?
Of course.
Yes.
Try to always be there for each other.
I do my best reaching out to my brothers and sisters in arms.
Have you ever asked for help yourself?
It's always tough, right? I can't say that I have. I mean,
If you don't have someone to kind of help you guide those thoughts, it can be really bad.
eventually, you just can't deal with it on your own. I guess it's a part of the military too, right? Service before self.
It was drilled in, service before self.
And you start to question, maybe people would be better off without me, When you realize that you're not alone, once you take that first step, there's so much support.
ICT is back on FSTV. Join ICT every Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific for credible Indigenous news from Indigenous people. ICT, Fridays at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific on FSTV.
I'm Matt Queering with Snapstream, and you are now watching Free Speech TV.
I know that you are watching over me.
I'm active in my church. Faith is important to me. My son played baseball since he was 3. I've closed a lot of deals sitting on the third baseline, sister. When COVID came out, I was a total skeptic. I work out. I didn't take that vaccine when my husband did. Then I'm in excruciating pain. He took me to emergency. I said, can I please get vaccinated? She said, sorry, a little late for that. We don't talk about lasting effects of COVID. It's been 65 days. Still have myocarditis. Got to have another echocardiogram. There is misinformation out there. This changed my thinking. Make your own choice. Make an educated one. My echocardiogram shows.
Who are we aligned with? Putin and war criminal Netanyahu. Who are we against for no reason whatsoever? The dumbest trade war in history, not my words, the words of that far left progressive outlet, Wall Street Journal, right? Trump is the dumbest trade war in history against Canada, against Mexico, against South Africa. Now we're alienating South Africa. We kicked out Ibrahim Rasool, the South African ambassador who fought apartheid. Why? Because South Africa, said that Israel's committing a genocide. We're going against the EU. We're going against Greenland, against Denmark. And the EU now is openly saying we cannot look at the United States as an ally, but we have to look at the United States as a threat. Who does this benefit, John? To me, two people, Putin and Musk. Yeah. And so this is why I'm thinking he's running like a man who says, number one, I got all the power. Number two, what are you going to do about it? You little bitch. Hey, I got to talk like MAGA right now. Huh? You loser, you lib. What are you going to do about it? Number three, even if something happens, I'm an old man. I'm going to get paid. And let Musk and Putin take care of the rest.
So if we're moving to a world, Waj, where the three empires control everything, right? I mean, as long as we're talking about invading Canada, invading Panama, invading Greenland, all to rape these countries for their natural resources, because plunder's been the way since the doctrine of discovery. If we're moving to a world where the three dominant empires that control all land masses are China, Russia, and the U.S.-European alliance, I can think of two of those empires that would really want to destroy the U.S.-European alliance. I mean, it's the smoothest way to do it. You want to take over Europe, get America out of the way. America can be isolated over here and do its own thing. That seems like exactly what Putin wants, and Trump, by giving out Kremlin propaganda almost every day.
That's right.
And tomorrow he's going to announce that there's a fictional Russian force surrounding Ukrainian troops in Kursk, and he is going to make them go away, even though that is not happening. And tomorrow he'll sell himself as the miraculous peace bringer, and 1/3 of the country will believe it without checking the facts.
Look, I've been saying it as well. I believe Russia wins. I believe China wins. I believe our enemies win. America becomes more isolated. America's already being isolated. In Canada, the nicest people on earth, they're saying elbows up and booing the national anthem, right? Mexico is telling people not to go to Texas because we have a mother effing measles outbreak because of right-wing disinformation and the decline in childhood vaccinations. So now we have people dying from measles, we have bird flu, we have COVID, we have a TB crisis in Kansas, we have RFK, an anti-vax nut, as the head of HHS, we have Tulsi Gabbard, who retweets the nuts and conspiracy theorists, as the head of DNI, we have Kash Patel with no experience as like the Luca Brasi of the Trump administration, openly telling people, I'm going to use the FBI purse to go after our critics, media critics, political critics, and now we're kidnapping and deporting anyone who's seen as a threat. We are in the age of authoritarianism. That was my piece today. If people are listening, please read it. It's on the Left Hook Substack. Tell me if you agree or disagree. I brought all the receipts. And I believe, John, as is clear from this week, the judges won't save us. The Democratic leadership won't save us. The media won't save us.
Correct.
Republicans won't save us.
Correct.
It'll be up to us.
Yep.
And we're in it now, John. And the people who say this will never happen here, this can't happen here, this is America, the guardrails, this is a failure of imagination. We are not special. This has happened all over the world. Syria, Hungary, right? Russia. Who are we? We're not special. We just destroyed ourselves. And so now we gave power to an authoritarian. And now this is the challenge of our lifetime. You and me, John, we're fathers. We've lived a good life. But, maybe like, me and Danielle say this, and pardon me if I'm taking a little bit a beat too long, but just let me end on this. Each person owes a death, right? We all got to go. And Elon Musk is terrified of death, just like the Pharaoh, but they're all going to go, folks. And, it's that line from Caesar, right? Shakespeare said, cowards die 1,000 deaths every day, but those who live with courage die one death. And so now is the test. We're in it. And what do we do with the time that we have? What do we do with our abilities? Do we say, if we're lucky enough to live to our old age and be grandparents, we were there, we marched, we fought? Or are we going to be cowards who will bend the knee and put our heads in the sand and think that we'll be protected? And if you think you'll be safe, folks, let me tell you this, as a student of history, fascists come after everyone. Everyone. So now's the time for us to unite, mobilize, start at a local level, and resist at every single every single level you can in every single way, and start with your voice. Don't give up your voice. Don't obey in advance. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
I love it. The only thing I disagree with is Elon Musk is not most afraid of death. The thing he's most afraid of are sit-ups. Wajahat Ali, it is such a pleasure to have you on this show. My God, you make me filled with such dread and hope at the same time. How dare you, sir? What is the best way for our evil army of the night to follow you, Waj, and keep up with your brilliance?
I would say it's the good army. It's the rebel army, the rebel alliance. I started writing for the Substack, Left Hook.
It is the small businesses, it's the small consumers, it is the small farmers that are just getting completely screwed by this right now. And it is not legal, that's right, but they are going to be roadkill on the way unless he immediately reverses his policies, as my Democratic colleagues and I have called on him to do.
Yeah.
All right.
Small business owners are getting completely screwed.
Yeah. Thank you. Senator Amy Klobuchar. We need all the heroes of democracy we can get right now. I mentioned our Senator Adam Schiff requesting the National Archives and Records Administration investigate Trump's the Trump administration's use of Signal and other messaging apps, and it's imperative that NARA contact each federal agency with personnel involved in the Signal conversations to ensure all records have been preserved. Well, as I was saying, you immediately go, well, no, of course they haven't, because this is a lawless administration, and that's why they use Signal in the first place. But, good on Adam Schiff, because I think we have to do all of the above in terms of resisting this. Yeah.
Defending our nation from the clutches of fascist idiocracy.
Correct.
We proudly present Heroes of Democracy.
And I mentioned this yesterday, but I got to mention my friend Randy Rhodes, who is not only that, but one of, as I've said, I think the best broadcaster in America. Today is her last day. She is retiring. I'm heartbroken. I called her and texted her yesterday. I haven't heard back yet because I know she's having a hell of a week. I think she's having surgery tomorrow. So again, can I just ask, please send all the love and light you can. I got
She's
a lot
a broadcast legend. We love her.
She's and I'm just personally devastated because I am her number one fan, and she is just got a heart of gold as well. And I don't know. She hasn't been specific about what's going on, but it's obviously something serious medically. And so, Charles said Randy departs. Mama, my goddess. Randy announced her last show is today. Oh no, sanity hours on weekdays are down to just 3 hours. Your show, You're My Heroines, and Randy's a huge part of my world. I hope she can regain her health and find a way back to her studio. Boy, me too. John in San Mateo said, Steph, Randy's been our rock. She does all the hard work to find out the real information we need. This will leave a huge hole in our lives. Plus, she has medical issues. I hope she will be well when today's her last day. Will you call in? Then we'll have two chicks crying on the radio. I will try to do that. It depends on what Randy wants today for her. Because it really is, Chris, it is the last day of a radio legend. And boy, I hope our first letter writer is right and she regains her health and is able to come back, because democracy needs her more than ever. Broadcasting needs her more than ever right now. But I know she would want you also to support all of the other strong, amazing voices that you hear here on all these outlets. Yep. So anyway, I'm gonna choke up. I just I really love her.
I adore her.
I just love her.
Yeah, always have been a huge fan.
Yeah. Okay. I probably should have done that off the top of the segment.
Oh, you're the chick that cries on the radio.
Okay. She's my radio soulmate. She's my Laverne. I'm her Shirley. Okay. All right. Let's
feel all the feelings.
Let me pull myself together here for a minute. Oh, you know what'll help me feel happy?
What?
We can have some nice things still.
What?
David in Alabama was the first one to alert us. Mama, it looks like they're doing a remake of The Entity. Okay, yes. Bella, Chris and I, Daddy and I have to explain.
This has been a thing
movie.
forever.
Uh-oh.
It was a 1981.
Yes, Heather Graham is going to star in what sure sounds like a remake of The Entity, which was a movie.
It was a 1981 movie starring Barbara Hershey, where she is trying to convince everybody that she's continually getting raped by a ghost.
Oh,
it's so inappropriate,
and
so
nobody
many
can
levels.
see the ghost, and so nobody believes her.
She's being raped by like a sound effect. Like you think, like, oh, you can hear it coming, just run, and she'll be like, oh. It's terrifying. As are Barbara Hershey's lips, but that's not important.
No, that was before she got the lip fillers.
Oh, that's true.
Yes.
Okay.
But at the end of the movie, they find out that it's real because they freeze the entity. And
yes.
the entity,
It's sort of like Ghostbusters meets like Rosemary's Baby meets, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and we had a dream that they would do a sequel called Son of Entity, which would be the
like Family Circus.
the ghost rape child.
Yes.
Right, it would be like family. No one would be able to be all
be
these
not
like
me.
shenanigans going on, and you're like, who did that?
Not me.
And it'd be like a little invisible entity. It's getting into cookies. Okay. Yes, this made my. Thank you, David. By the way, I needed it yesterday. Worried about my friend Randy. America's imploding. Heather Graham is attached to star in Entity Within. That sounds even rapier. That doesn't.
Oh boy.
They did not take our advice and do Son of Entity, but okay, fine. A new movie based on the infamous Doris Bither haunting of 1974. So this is an actual person. Did you know that? It was a novel.
I knew the entity was based on a real story. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a real novel. That's why they made the movie. Bither claims she was on more than one occasion sexually assaulted by an invisible and vocally misogynistic spirit. This is just the movie we need right now, right? In this Handmaid's Tale patriarchy we're already in.
Right.
Yeah. We have like real rapists in the White House and the Defense Department, and now we need we need ghost rapies. Okay. It was the 1978 novel, The Entity.
Right.
Was made into a 1982 film of the same name, starring Barbara Hershey. Martin Scorsese hailed it as one of the scariest films of all time.
Really?
It's true.
Oh,
I don't do scary films anymore. This is probably why I don't do scary films anymore, because this scared the living bejesus out of me.
I think Scorsese's overselling it a little bit.
Martin,
what
are we
she'd
doing
be
here?
sleeping with her Barbara Hershey lips, and then you'd just be like, "Oh no!"
You know, Cape Fear.
Oh, the music is.
scarier.
The music is.
Cape Fear is scarier than the entity.
Okay.
Did it follow her around? Like, did she try to leave the house?
Bella, this is for you.
I think so, yeah.
This is for you, because there's been some remarkably bad ideas in Hollywood. Like, I don't know who greenlit Hogan's Heroes, but somebody was in a room. Okay, funny Nazis. Wait for it. Okay, but this. This is for you.
Oh no.
This seems highly inappropriate. 20th Century Fox decided not to release its planned tie-in video game.
What?
For the Atari 2600, in which players were going to use a pair of paddles to push its ghostly rapist skyward to a higher plane of existence.
What?
I think that is really making a little bit light of rape, isn't it? Like
as a child growing up, I had an Atari 2600. I might have gotten it.
Would that work with the Trump administration? Could we use
paddles?
Ghostly paddles to push the demonic entities?
The demonic rapist entity?
Yeah. Rapey, demonic.
It had to have been better than the E.T. game.
Oh. That was my best impression ever, by the way, Barbara Hershey and the entity, right? Just. Okay. It's an easy impression.
Dark.
All right,
That's dark.
I cheered myself up. I am doing a laughy little cry.
So, has the Heather Graham movie been made, or is it?
No, it's been greenlit.
Okay.
It's very exciting.
All right.
Oh, what are we doing, guys? What are we doing? I know there's original ideas.
At first, I thought it said Lauren Graham, because I just finished my Gilmore Girls.
No, not Lauren
And I was
Graham.
like, the Gilmore Girls?
No.
Oh, okay.
Roller Girl from Boogie Nights.
I do love her.
Oh, she's great. I love her.
Who?
Heather Graham.
Oh, yes. Right. Sorry. What? Who's on first?
Heather Graham.
All right.
Lauren Graham.
Halfway Post says, an anonymous GOP senator says everyone in Congress knows Trump is a disaster, but 1/3 of Republicans are cashing in on the grift, 1/3 are afraid of Trump wrecking their careers, and 1/3 are afraid of Trump's cult members committing violence. That is how we've gotten to this sad state of America. Speaking of comedy legends leaving, Rosie O'Donnell, do you have... She moved
to Ireland.
She moved to Ireland. Ellen moved to England. I'm not a rich enough lesbian to move anywhere. That's how, you know what, in this Randy Rhoads news, I'm not going to quit because I've got no place else to go. I can't afford it.
Yeah.
And I don't.
These are rich people that are able to leave the country.
Be right here in the basement until Bella figures out how to make me into
an entity?
An entity or a hologram. Something like Tupac meets the entity.
AI can do wonders.
Right?
Hey, they figured it out in Vegas with like the Michael Jackson hologram.
We're gonna keep this dog and pony show going until forever. All right. But here's Rosie.
It's been heartbreaking, I have to tell you. I knew that if I was in the United States and watched him destroy the country and the Constitution and pay no mind to any of the laws that the founders stood by and that our country stands for as a beacon of shining light and freedom for the rest of the world, that should he do what the Heritage Foundation said he was going to do in that Project 2025, that we were going to be in big trouble. And it's as bad as they promised and even a little bit worse. And it's been heartbreaking and personally very, very sad to watch.
Don't you think there should be some sort of program for America, where the really rich lesbians, the A-list lesbians, sponsor like a really D-list lesbian that like works in her basement for, I could do the show. I could do the show one from her Irish mansion 1 week and then Alan and Portia's mansion in England another week. Just saying, think about it. I get a chance to travel.
Are you sure they'd take you in?
No, probably not. I'm throwing it out there for the fancy rich lesbians
Portia
can help
Ellen
the
would.
poor lesbian church mice that work in their basement.
You have the smell of poor on you, though. You have the stench of
I'm
poor.
like Kristen Wiig.
Yeah.
Poors.
Help
I smell.
me.
Help me. I'm poor. That's it. That's what I'm saying to all the rich lesbians.
You flying
help
coach
me.
over there.
Help me. I'm poor. Oh, no. Steerage, like Leonardo DiCaprio, wherever they play the Irish music. Okay. Nick Kristof, New York Times said, so sad to see the owners of CBS and news organizations whose correspondents have risked their lives covering wars, upheavals, and dictators abroad knuckle under to authoritarianism at home. CBS journalists deserve better for their boss. And good for him for quitting and making a statement. That's how you stand up to this, right? Jenna says, who would have guessed an abusive alcoholic Fox News commentator with white supremacist tattoos and 7 kids from 3 overlapping relationships wouldn't have the integrity to be Secretary of Defense? Totally out of left field. Yeah, did not see it coming. Did not. Oh, Brian Kilmeade defended Pete Hegseth sharing sensitive military information with his family by saying it's part of a learning curve. And that's exactly what they said about Hillary, wasn't it? They gave Hillary the exact, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, Trump spent Easter with Elon Musk, rage posting about judges and skipping church, and then claimed he brought religion back to America. Did you see that with him standing next to the Easter Bunny and Melania? Bringing religion back very strongly. We're bringing God back to America.
When was the last time you stepped foot in a church?
No, never. He burst into flame. Yeah. Oh, wow. This is sad. Who said, before I describe the details of Russia's recent online influence campaigns, I would like to call upon you to stand firm against another autocracy, the United States of America. Oy. Who said that?
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Are you paying attention to me? I'm doing a show over here.
I know.
Okay.
I'm working on the show over here, too.
All right, fine. Nina Jankowicz to the European Parliament. Is that, in public? We're getting called we're in the axis of autocracy now. And if that doesn't bother you, then you are not an American, my friend. By the way, I didn't want to mean to imply I want to leave America. I'm not going to quit. I've got no place else to go. I'm just saying it's the only way I would be able to afford to travel, what with inflation and all, and retirement savings, all that. I'm just saying, Ellen, Rosie, I can do some light cleaning, a little bit of cooking.
I ain't gonna quit! I got nowhere else to go!
I'm just trying to grift some fancy vacations from rich lesbians.
They're not gonna let you enter their castles.
I'm rewatching Arrested Development right now. I think Portia would.
Portia might.
Help me, I'm poor. Okay, I'll buy that fancy face cream. She and Ellen are hawking.
That is the weirdest thing.
That's weird. Don't they have all the money in the world? I don't know. I'm just asking. I feel like they already have all the rest of it that Elon Musk doesn't have. But
right.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're hawking a face cream.
All right.
Well,
okay.
Someone has to.
Okay. All right. I only hawk the best.
You do.
Look at this. 19 minutes after the hour. This portion of the Stephanie Miller. Have anyone seen the scene in broadcast news where they just barely get on the air before?
Well, we're not on the air on radio, just on TV. So.
All right. Well, that's why.
It's something.
And Jody, you don't get a jingle because your family, your wallpaper. No, don't. You don't.
Don't. No.
Yeah. Poor Bella. Bella's I've aged 5 years.
Yes.
Bella's almost 30 now. She started this job a month ago at 22. Yeah. Right. We're having yet some more technical challenges. Hi, Jody.
Hello.
And we didn't coordinate, but you're wearing your childless cat lady, and I'm wearing my childless dog lady T-shirt.
I didn't know you were going to do
coordinate.
that.
Oh my God, I love your top. Okay, so
Happy Earth Day.
Oh, thank you. I was looking for my my Earth centered shirt, but it's short sleeve, and I don't feel good about my arms right now.
Welcome to my world.
I'm making you do a bit where you go shirtless later, and you're feeling like you're having a fat day.
Not to.
Well, what's the point of having eye candy like you around if I can't be a cheap flesh peddler?
What's the point of having arms like yours and you not wearing short sleeves?
Oh, you don't know what's happening.
See?
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Okay. Hi, Jody.
Hello.
Welcome to Body Images Incorporated.
Hello. Hi.
That's why you fit right in here. Okay. All right. So, poor Bella. Thank you, honey.
Yeah.
She's over there working.
Poor thing.
Hey, guys.
Please don't quit. Please don't quit. Please don't quit. Mommy needs you. Mommy needs you. Mommy needs you. Don't quit.
No, it's fine.
I know.
I'm fine. Fine.
It's a little stressful doing. Jody, you don't probably remember any of this. It's a little stressful.
No, I don't
on a bit of
remember
a budget
thing.
with some technical issues.
No.
Chris Lavoie is he's actually only 15, but look at him. He's aged. Look at him.
Right? I mean,
Yeah, he was hired straight out of 8th grade.
Oh.
Yeah, you should have seen me when I first started working with you.
You look like you ate several of the original Chris's. Speaking of age, wait, can I just say it's the best bag of rats ever? That's how you know things are not going well.
Mm-hmm.
Karl Rove's been saying, like, America's exhausted by Trump. He's like a 10-point swing. He's never seen anything like that. Oh, just one headline. Oh, here's another Wall Street Journal headline. Dow headed for the worst April since the Great Depression.
Oh, that's great.
Oh.
Wonderful.
Nicely done. Okay, so the bag of rats, that's how you can tell when things are getting really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Bag of rats is... Wow! By the way, so little time, so many crazy right-wing bitches. It's hard for me
I
to...
know.
What is going on? Nancy Mace is losing her shizzle. First of all, she provoked that.
She did.
Well,
I
first
watched the whole thing.
Well, she obviously assumed he was gay, making fun of what he was wearing. It said she voted for gay marriage. That's the only thing he would care about.
He was gay.
Well, okay.
I mean,
it's irrelevant.
It is irrelevant, yes.
No, but she provoked this
She
and then,
did.
like, posts it like
And then
she's
she
proud of
posts
it.
it.
Oh, my God. Dropping all these F-bombs at her constituent. All he asked is, are you going to
Have
be
some
having
town
any-
halls.
I could have gotten that. I didn't want to.
No,
Too many
I don't want
F-bombs.
to. No, too many
Yeah.
F-bombs. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
I played it for Lonnie yesterday. He goes, she posted that? And I said,
Right,
yes.
like she's proud, right?
Right.
She's like, don't come for me. I'm like, she's really, something's woohoo, yoo-hoo.
Woohoo.
Okay, so no, wait, back, everybody, back. Let's focus on two other crazy right-wing bitches. So this particular Twitter fight is between Dana Loesch and Laura Loomer.
Oh, that's fun.
This is a fantastic bag of rats. So I don't know who started what or why, but Laura, I'm getting my kitties ready. Double cats. Okay. Laura tweeted, Dana, you are 46 years old, look 60, and are selling beats on TV.
Whoa.
Dana said, okay, mid-jigsaw.
What does that mean?
I don't know what that means. Mid-piece in the jigsaw puzzle? No.
Or is it a reference to the Saw movies?
I don't know.
She said, okay, mid-jigsaw, but I'm not single and childless as you are, and I can also own a gun. Can you? Why not?
Oh, does Laura Loomer have a felony?
I don't even know. The whole thing's fantastic.
Wow.
Wow. Don't fight. You're both seriously equally awful. It's so hard to pick between the two of you. Okay.
Mid-jigsaw. I'm going to look up mid-jigsaw.
Yeah.
I think it might be a reference to the Saw movies because the killer in the Saw movies was Jigsaw.
Yeah.
The little puppet.
The little puppet, yeah.
All right, but just to differentiate, if you want to send hate tweets to Jody and I am a single childless loser. She is just a childless loser, but married, in case
Right.
you want to throw us into the bag of rats.
I'm a childless cat lady.
It is the Stephanie Miller Show. Our next... Oh, it is our amuse-bouche. Our second helping of Man Meat. Malcolm Nance will be coming up before we have a full serving of Carlos Alzraki.
He has some things to say about Pete Hegseth.
You think so? Do you feel like that's an intelligence and a national security threat of some sort?
A little bit.
Okay. Oh, by the way, so my request to have wealthy lesbians like Rosie and Ellen adopt me for brief vacations. I'm just saying, I feel like given the state of America, they could adopt some, poor lesbians like me. I would broadcast from there for like a week. That's it. And then come back. Tony said, Steph, didn't some right wing not already have a quote unquote program for lesbians?
Yeah.
Wasn't he going to put y'all on an island somewhere?
That's right.
No. It was in a zoo. It was that preacher.
I figured a way out. A way to get rid of all the lesbians and queers. Build a great, big, large fence.
From in my heart I am loyal.
Put all the lesbians in there.
There's a lot of work to be done.
Do the same thing with the queers and the homosexuals.
Preventing multiplication.
Do you know why they can't reproduce?
We'll still have to feed everyone.
Fly over and drop some food.
We're gonna lock all you electric lesbian zoo and make the fences higher.
50 or 100 mile long.
We're gonna trap all you with electric fences too. It's all here in our flyer.
Great big large fence.
Home, home, home.
And have that fence electrified till they can't get out.
Home, 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 home.
Okay. All right. Please, Ellen. Please, Rosie, help me. I'm poor. I'm just a poor lesbian. Don't let me go to the electric lesbian zoo. Okay, hey, looky here. Tennessee Republican Representative Diana Harshbarger. He's, her doctor is...
How far?
Oh, right. Or Dr. Furrier? I can't remember. Oh, pardon me. Diana Harshbarger referred to Texas Democrat Al Green, a 77-year-old black man, as boy. Okay, I'll just save that. I'll put that in the Frangela stack for Friday as well. Okay. Wow, bigot's gonna bigot, right?
Well, I mean,
yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. Caroline Levitt, just so we can hear Bella say.
Oh, hey, girl. Hey.
We're doing very well in respect to a potential trade deal with China.
Are we?
As I mentioned, there have now been 18 proposals in more than 100 countries around the world who are wanting to make a deal with the United States of America. And the president and the administration are setting the stage for a deal with China. So we feel everyone involved wants to see a trade deal happen, and the ball is moving in the right direction.
Yeah, no, those negotiations, just keeping track, have not even started yet. Nope. So when she says we're moving, and all of those trade deals live in the Niagara Falls area, you wouldn't know them. You haven't met them yet, but you will. They are not fictional girlfriend deals.
They're all named George Glass.
Yes.
Yeah. I haven't heard of a George Glass at our school.
Okay. God bless our new best friend, Jessica Tarloff. Can I just say the truth she speaks on Fox News?
If a Democratic president said, here's my crypto account, just send money directly to me, you guys would be losing your minds. But because it's Donald, everything's fine.
Yep. Thank you. Someone asked why we haven't had her on, because Fox News won't allow it, because they're stupid. They wouldn't. Yeah, we asked her on at the DNC. We're like, oh, we love you. Come on. Yeah. And she's like, no,
I can't.
Yeah. Okay. The
you had the stench of poor on you.
I did. Even Fox News hosts can smell poor. All right. Malcolm Nance has some stuff to say, both about, disappearing people without due process and Signalgate.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk to him next.
Okay.
Well, hey there. This spring, don't just clean, organize once and for all. It is time to pull all those important documents out of junk drawers, file cabinets, stacks of paper you have piled up, and those password-protected retirement and bank accounts on your computer. You know what I'm talking about. Your next of kin is going to need access to those details someday. That's why the Nokbox was created. The Nokbox is a complete system that helps you organize all of your accounts, possessions, and estate plans, and each Nokbox comes with a comprehensive checklist that helps your next of kin manage your estate when you're gone. From your insurance policies to your funeral directives, your dog's vet information, that's important for me, even the code to your storage unit, the Nokbox helps you organize it all. If you've got a household, you need a Nokbox. And now, for listeners of The Stephanie Miller Show, save 16% off the Nokbox of your choice. Visit thenokbox.com today to get yours and use the code Stephanie for 16% off. Trust me, your future self and your family will thank you.
Hey, John Fugelsang here. You guys know what's happening to the country, and corporate media is not helping. But when the White House Correspondents' Dinner fires comedians, it's time we take back the mic and brutally mock them in the process. Join me and the Political Voices Network for Not the White House Correspondents' Dinner pay-per-view special on Saturday, April 26th at 9 p.m. Eastern. Not just another comedy show, it's a no-holds-barred takedown of media hypocrisy, political BS, and sanitized news with over a dozen fearless comics and influencers bringing truth with punchlines, including Hal Sparks, Alonzo Bowden, Trey Crowder, a.k.a. the Liberal Redneck, Glenn Kirshner, Allison Gill, Brooklyn Dad Defiant, Dino Badala, JoJo from Jers, TV's Frank Conniff, and many more with special guest Miss Elaine Boozler. Catch the Not the White House Correspondents' Dinner live on April 26th instead of that other thing, or stream it on demand for 2026, because that's a good number to think about. Go to www.meethook.live/not and get your ticket, because when they silence comedians, we get louder.
Hi, and welcome back to day 92 of the first 100 days of the Donald Trump reign of terror, chaos in a blender, pandemonium, the destruction of humanity and democracy, all of the above. Today, after the death of Pope Francis, Marjorie Taylor Greene was welcoming his death by saying death to all the fake Christians. You gotta love that. Donald Trump did issue some nice things about the Pope, but remember, the Pope was all about helping the poor and all about education. Donald Trump doesn't care about the poor and, of course, has been sued by Harvard for trying to cut off their $2 billion grant because he just didn't like what Harvard has to say. So much for free speech. At the same time, Pete Hegseth, well, he's in trouble for exposing himself figuratively. Literally, he'll probably come later. But by sending out signal apps to his family on an attack in Yemen. You can't make this stuff up. The moron is not respected by the military, and who's surprised by that? 1 week left. We're headed into the home stretch. Stick around. The tension is nail-biting.
Okay, if you're a homeowner, you need to listen up. When is the last time you checked your home title? That is the legal proof you own your home. If you're like me, the answer is never. I was also like, what? Am I supposed to do that? The problem is, in today's AI and cyber world, scammers are stealing home titles, and your equity is the target. Here's how it works. Criminals forge your signature on one document, use a fake notary stamp, pay a small fee with your county, and boom, your home title has been transferred out of your name. Then they take out loans using your equity and even sell your property. You won't even know it's happened until you get a collection or foreclosure notice. That's why you need to stop what you're doing right now. Find out today if you're already a victim. Use the promo code Stephanie14 at HometitleLock.com. Make sure your title is still in your name. You'll also get a free title history report plus a free 14-day trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title, urgent alerts, and they will expend up to $1 million to fix any fraud. Go to HometitleLock.com now. The code is Stephanie14. HometitleLock.com, promo code Stephanie14. Here's someone that knows something about that.
We can dance if we want to, if we hope somebody will. Cause Republicans are rude and should be removed and act like they're imbeciles. I say, Malcolm Nance, Trump is under Putin's control. We can dance while Stephanie dances with the pole. Well, it's the Malcolm Nance. It's the Malcolm Nance. Well, it's the Malcolm Nance.
Hiya, Malcolm Nance. Good morning.
Why, boy, howdy.
You know, I read Pete Buttigieg's tweet, and it says everything you need to know. You retweeted. He said, of course, advance information on U.S. combat operations is classified. Pretending otherwise is an insult to our troops who all know this. The secretary is unfit to lead. I mean, oh, my God. You don't even have to have served in the military to know that, right?
You know, that's the most mind-boggling part of this entire discussion with MAGA heads. Remember how upset they were that Hillary Clinton had a secure server in her house guarded by the Secret Service, and that on occasion she would do unclassified things on her regular email. But now, having your wife, your brother, your private lawyer on a second signal chat after you've spoken with the commander of Central Command on the secure telephone I keep telling you about that's on his desk, and you just put that out on Signal to your boo. And we actually discussed this about him, his, possibly his wife, maybe his side piece, his bartender, all having access to this information. It's not just advanced information. Let me explain something to you guys. It's one thing to have intelligence and war fighting advanced war plans. It's another thing to trade on the stock market 2 hours before U.S. airstrikes devastate a country like Iran or Yemen or some other place. The markets fluctuate. That means Red Sea traffic may increase if you know that something is going to go on in advance. But Hegseth is just a flat-out liar. His interview on Fox, the first thing I thought was, this man is drinking.
Yeah. That's what it seems like. I mean, some of this looks like drunken bragging, to his wife or his brother or whatever. Like, look what a badass I am. Eggplant emoji. It's the New York Times reporting Malcolm Hegseth's inner circle of close advisors, military veterans who, like him, had little experience running large, complex organizations, is in shambles. The discord includes screaming matches in his inner office among aides, a growing distrust of the thousands of military and civilian personnel who staff the building, bureaucratic logjams. His hand-picked chief of staff, Joe Casper, but meanders or takes pointless, or the meetings that he runs takes pointlessly bawdy turns. One meeting he led this month with a group that works with veterans that was offering its services to the Pentagon devolved into a recounting of an evening Mr. Casper spent at a Washington strip club. I mean, they've just turned the Pentagon into a frat house.
It is drunk frat house, right? With the what do you call it? The monitor that they assign to you from, whatever it is, Barstool Sports. That his job is to, wake up and go out and do PT with the soldiers. He keeps throwing around this phrase, we're going to be with the war fighters. We're going to be with the warriors. He is clueless to understand that this entire building, the structure, the massive budget that they want to push up to $1 trillion now relies on getting materials, resources, making decisions for those people. But he is a Potemkin leader. He is a major in the National Guard. He has no experience whatsoever anywhere near the tops. This is the kind of guy who thinks that he's going to, what did he say? He was going to go, he's not worried about the cocktail sipping circuit. Hey, you know why? Because
cocktails on his mind.
Earlier, he's more interested in the hard drinking circuit.
Yeah.
Right? He wants to be out with the manly men doing manly things in a manly time in a manly way. And no women's, no girls, so it's the She-Women Man-Haters Club.
That's right.
Right? No black people, so you can't even have buckwheat in there. Right? And they're all going to be up in his freaking treehouse. Pretending like he is commanding forces. Hundreds of billions of dollars of decisions have to be made. And this is a guy who is playing a Secretary of Defense on television. It was his interview, by the way, that I said that it appeared that he was drinking. I can't believe anyone would talk like that in public who had a position of national trust.
Oh, let's listen. Let's hear a little bit.
All right.
Is there slurring? Let's listen.
I don't have time for the hoax press that peddles old stories from disgruntled employees. We should be talking about the decimation of the Houthis, how we're pushing back the Chinese, how we have a new defense area at the southern border. Instead, disgruntled former employees are peddling things to try to save their ass. Did you? And ultimately, that's it's not going to work.
He does seem like the guy at the bar that you're just like, oh, God, okay.
Shut up.
Oh, shut up.
I have a question.
Sure.
Broski, if you don't have time for all these things, why are you on TV talking about how you don't have time?
Pam Bondi's on TV every day on Fox News. Like,
they all are. They're just pantomime. Kristi Noem. You know, I'm certain these guys all meet on a Friday afternoon at some secret bar in the Pentagon now, where they sit there and they talk about what they're with their propaganda ministers to show how cool they are.
And Malcolm, it is a clown show, top to bottom, from the tariffs to the Signal Gate to Kristi Noem, the Homeland Security Director not being able to secure her own purse. I mean, oh my God!
Did you see that? There's a video of it.
Yes, right. And it was a white guy, right? With a So I'm sure nothing
always is.
Right. Anyway, but you retweeted Adam Kinzinger, who said, serious question. Kristi Noem was pictured with a Rolex in El Salvador, got $3,000 in cash stolen. She's been on a government salary for years. Something ain't right. I'm reporting this to Frangela's Department of Something Ain't Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and then Allison Gill, our friend, you retweeted, I have to assume Kristi Noem had $3,000 in cash because she had just sold children to a human trafficking ring and it would have been $10,000, but she just made a drop for some fentanyl that she was on her way to pick up. I'm just saying,
asking questions.
I would deport her just to be safe, wouldn't you, Malcolm?
Hey, in her humble opinion, right? That's what she thinks. I got to tell you something. I don't know about you guys. The only thing I ever use cash for is for like the guy who ad hoc comes and wants to cut my grass, or the guy from the shelter who wants to, pick up trash around there. I don't work in cash at all.
No one does
There's
anymore.
a woman in a $4,500 Gucci bag going to that high-end burger joint in D.C. with literal armed security around her. You know what? If this was any other presidency in history, I would have said that this was a CIA training exercise.
Yeah. Oh my God. Laughing stock.
But now I'm starting to believe that somebody in, DHS who is a professional just does not like her. And here's what's going to happen, y'all. The value of that bag not showing up on the internet is going to be six figures.
Yeah.
It is.
God.
But someone's going to put that out there.
Yeah. Not to mention her Homeland Security Department badge was in there.
That's going on auction on eBay.
Absolutely.
Right. By the way, you retweeted something I've been referring to. El Salvador is the new Poland. Thank you.
Yeah.
Read a book, for God's sakes, right? Like, the original concentration camps weren't in Germany. They were somewhere outside of the purview of German law. That's exactly what this is, right?
Absolutely. If you guys can, go onto my Substack, become a subscriber on my Substack. I did a video with 11 films. And this is for 45 minutes. And I mean, you want to talk about blue. All right, we're so blue, we're purpler. This thing, I used to think that I was an F-bombardier. Now I just think I harvest it like soybean. So we talk so much. And the one thing that cropped up was a statement that was made by Tara Stepmeyer about not failing to understand or lose the imagination of what these people are capable of.
Yeah.
We need to understand they are Nazi-level capable.
Speaking of which,
El Salvador has become the new Poland. They're shipping them off to a country that you can't see, you can't control. We don't know what's happening there.
So speaking of which, Rachel Maddow, National Treasure, I think is leaving next week from her Every Night. I mean, not her Monday show, but the Every Night show.
The 100 days, yeah.
Yeah, and Malcolm, I gotta say, she is invaluable in that, somebody had tweeted last night's whistleblower segment on Rachel Maddow. This is the, Russian data thing. Made me think, they definitely hacked the election. Whistleblower Daniel Baroulis just exposed something terrifying. Foreign enemies allegedly stole U.S. data, and the leak, it came through Elon Musk's Starlink. I keep saying to you, I just don't think the last shoe has dropped here. And thank God Rachel did it, because then CNN picked it up and NPR, right? Because I still am like, what's going on with this story, Malcolm? Seems like a big deal.
The guy saw that Elon Musk had his minions connect the National Labor Relations Board information computer to Starlink. Within 15 minutes of connecting it, Russian identified hackers had the proper usernames the proper passwords, which means that they had already cracked Starlink. They had already cracked Elon Musk's Dogettes, whatever you want to call those Doge minions of his, and that they were now attempting to get into any place. We have to assume every U.S. government computer that they have connected to is now compromised. That this guy came in and said, whoa, our safeguards stop foreign intrusion, and they detected it, and then what did the Doge people do? Told everyone to sort of ignore it. We may find this is I've said it before, this may be now the greatest act of espionage in history because Elon Musk is working for money, not for America.
Well, and by the way, it was in your first book about Paul Manafort.
Yes.
Trump and Putin are interfering in elections around the world, including Romania, where they just annulled the election because of it. So I can understand people's suspicions about, and I think it's critical, Malcolm, not just because of 2024, but what about 2026 and 28, right?
Look, we've got bigger problems before 2026. You guys know that I'm all about the Second American Revolution, right? We need a blue people power revolution. If we don't really get out on the streets every week, there's a protest every week now.
Yep.
There's a Tesla Tuesday all the time. Mm-hmm. I mean, you guys can get out and do something every week. But I want to call attention to this fact. There were 76 million Kamala Harris voters. Yeah. The largest protest we had was 5 million people. You need to encourage any individual who voted for Harris or against Trump or who didn't come out to come to these protests. We may not make it to 2026 until people power hits the street and literally we get. Why do we not have 35 million people protesting simultaneously in this country? That's just half of the Harris voters.
I go back and forth. You retweeted our friend Stephen Beschloss, a journalist who we had on yesterday, Malcolm, and he said, just keep in mind the day will come when America is no longer held hostage by a sociopath, a convicted felon, an arsonist, and a vengeful narcissistic sadist who revels in the pain and suffering of others and builds his fortune on the ruins of public liberty. May it come soon. I go back and forth between optimism and people saying, like, I don't know how long it's going to take to repair our relationships with our allies. Whether we're ever going to be able to get trade deals again, whether anyone is ever going to trust us again, and how lasting this damage to America is going to be.
Look, I'm all about hope. I'm all about the optimism that we'll be able to repair this someday. Yeah. But we are now in the first 100 days of a grip of an actual dictatorship.
Yep.
We are. Everybody just call it what it is. And now I think that's great. Steve, I've been on his podcast. He's a great writer. But we need to focus on, as we say in the Navy, right? Your eyes in the boat. The thing that is right in front of you. Start rowing right now. Because if we keep going, maybe 2029 we'll have something to you. Yeah. This man is intent on staying in power. And now he has J.D. Vance and Peter Thiel and Elon Musk. They're all going to guarantee they stay in power. So turn this table over, we're in trouble.
I just talked about someone speaking to the European Parliament saying we have to discuss another autocracy, the United States of America. She said, before I talk about Russia, I have to talk about another autocracy. I mean, this is what's happening to our reputation in the world.
Trump is weeks from ending Russia sanctions, weeks from siding with Russia openly. Steve Witkoff has already made statements to the effect that he's not there negotiating a war ceasefire with Russia. He's there negotiating financial treaties with Russia. You are going to suddenly wake up and find the United States has allied itself with modern Hitler.
Yeah.
And that not in the United States, the Trump administration. And unless we really get out there and turn, like I said, turn the table over, they're going to keep going. And if you're waiting for the Democratic Party, they're not going to do anything because they're the opposition. And until we give them spine, until we give them their back, most Democratic politicians right now they didn't back Chris Van Hollen for going to El Salvador.
Right.
So we are the only people. Look,
several people did. Maxwell Frost, Robert Garcia. That's why we got to elevate and spotlight.
I can predict those people will do it.
Yeah.
Where are the other 205?
Yep. Right. Yep. Nope. Right. Everybody. It's like you're right. It's what do you call it in the military? All hands on deck. In the Navy, all hands on deck.
All hands on deck. Battle stations. We're sinking.
Right. There you go. All right. You sunk my battleship. Love you, Malcolm.
All right, y'all.
All right. See you next
Thanks,
week.
Malcolm.
All right, 50 minutes after the hour. This portion of Hal Sparks is here.
Yay, Hal.
Squee.
What a nutty idea that we actually want a rule of law to exist. It's funny that you can't exactly protect America by turning it into China and Russia. Like at one point, why would they even bother to invade if we just act like they do? Isn't that kind of, I don't know. Sorry, I'm being silly again.
Crazy. Yeah, there's so much, Hal. There's so much.
There's so much. Yeah, it's a torrent. Yeah, it's a tsunami of idiocy.
Yes. Doge defied court and rushed mass firings. A member of Elon Musk's Doge allegedly screamed and demanded 36 hours of straight work to process Thursday's mass firings at the U.S. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Doge member Gavin someone.
Okay.
I don't know if is that Big Balls? I don't know. He kept the team up for 36 hours straight to ensure the notices would go out. Yesterday, Gavin was screaming at people he didn't believe were working fast enough to ensure they could go out on this compressed timeline, calling them incompetent. I mean, this is why the Supreme Court rule had to rule in the middle of the night. Because, they're rushing to break the law and to defy court orders.
Well, that's exactly it. They think, kind of like the plane's taking off, he was trying to get everybody to finish that work before the judge's ruling took effect, or they could get, somebody could walk a stop order in there. And the idea was that somebody's going to walk over here from the court with a piece of paper while we're doing this. Yeah. So he was rushing everybody to do it. It didn't matter, though, because the judge is saying, you're doing it too fast. You have to rehire those people. So I have a relative that will remain nameless, and I was visiting them, and they have a friend who had just been hired at the IRS, and they were put on a probationary first in or last in, first out kind of thing because the Trump administration was cutting all these people. He was part of the Doge cuts, but then he was rehired because they needed the staff. And the judge said, you have to rehire these people. But they then were offered a package to quit early. And then when they said, they were like, yes, you guys are idiots. And I'm never going to work here. I'm never going to get any work done. The person said, but we're going to hold it in debate till September because we might need you to keep working during that time. But we'll let you know. This person is going to get paid for 10 months of work without ever setting foot in an office.
Yeah. That sounds a little like
efficiency.
Wasteful. That sounds a little wasteful.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, and I love Alito was like, I don't know, somebody's neighbor's dog woke him up in the middle of the night. Like, this is just rude having to rule in the middle of the night. And meanwhile, they're like Argo, like, like getting on the buses and the planes, like, trying to get them out, right?
Yes. Well, and again, like, this is supposed to be this kind of like macho relationship.
Well, hey there. This spring, don't just clean, organize once and for all. It is time to pull all those important documents out of junk drawers, file cabinets, stacks of paper you have piled up, and those password-protected retirement and bank accounts on your computer. You know what I'm talking about. Your next of kin is going to need access to those details someday. That's why the Nokbox was created. The Nokbox is a complete system that helps you organize all of your accounts, possessions, and estate plans, and each Nokbox comes with a comprehensive checklist that helps your next of kin manage your estate when you're gone. From your insurance policies to your funeral directives, your dog's vet information, that's important for me, even the code to your storage unit, the Nokbox helps you organize it all. If you've got a household, you need a Nokbox. And now, for listeners of The Stephanie Miller Show, save 16% off the Nokbox of your choice. Visit thenokbox.com today, get yours, and use the code Stephanie for 16% off. Trust me, your future self and your family will thank you.
Hey, John Fugelsang here. You guys know what's happening to the country, and corporate media is not helping. But when the White House Correspondents' Dinner fires comedians, it's time we take back the mic and brutally mock them in the process. Join me and the Political Voices Network for Not the White House Correspondents' Dinner pay-per-view special on Saturday, April 26th at 9 p.m. Eastern. Not just another comedy show, it's a no-holds-barred takedown of media hypocrisy, political BS, and sanitized news with over a dozen fearless comics and influencers bringing truth with punchlines, including Hal Sparks, Alonzo Bowden, Trey Crowder, a.k.a. the liberal redneck, Glenn Kirshner, Allison Gill, Brooklyn Dad Defiant, Dino Badala, JoJo from Jers, TV's Frank Conniff, and many more with special guest Miss Elaine Boozler. Catch the Not the White House Correspondents' Dinner live on April 26th instead of that other thing, or stream it on demand for 2026, because that's a good number to think about. Go to www.meethook.live/not and get your ticket, because when they silence comedians, we get louder.
"56 minutes after the hour. Coffee with Carlos coming up." Yep. Oh, look at that headline, Chris. Fox News priest. First of all, isn't that like jumbo shrimp? A Fox News priest, isn't that like military intelligence? Or, yeah.
There is a
Fox News priest.
There is a conservative wing of the Catholic Church. Yes.
Waste no time in trashing woke Pope Francis. I'm wearing my Wokey Woke Wilkerson t-shirt in honor of what they call the woke Pope.
Yeah.
Wow, if they think Pope Francis was woke, I got some really bad news for them about Jesus. But okay. Conservative priest harshly criticized Pope Francis's woke ideology after his actually the day of his death. Father, I don't know what his name.
Guido Sarducci.
Yes, Father Guido Sarducci, a regular commentator, Fox News. He said, "Do we want to continue with Pope Francis's basically leftward radical movement in the church?" Let me take a moment to say yes. Yes, we do. Yes. I mean, the more Jesus-y direction, yes. He said, do we want to continue in basically, sad to say, woke direction of the Catholic Church? Yes, once again.
Computer says yes.
Yes, we do. Oh, look, Megyn Kelly chimed in. Megyn Kelly dumps on Pope Francis shortly after his death. She criticized Pope Francis for one of the crusades of his papacy, mercy for the world's migrants. Yeah. When did Jesus ever say anything about that? When did he ever say anything like welcome the stranger?
Who chose the word crusade in that? That might not be the
this
most
was hours
word.
After his death. The Pope once said something to the effect that building walls instead of bridges was not Christian. The Pope was correct. She said that like that was a bad thing. She said it caused a lot of us in the Catholic Church to wonder what exactly we're donating toward on Sunday. It really does.
Wow.
Then she went on to criticize the Obama's marriage.
What?
She's on her second one in case anybody's counting over there. But okay. What? I'm just doing the math.
Sure.
We'll talk about that.
Okay.
And Coffee with Carlos next.
Oh, hi. Come. Walk with me. I kind of want to talk about the least of my people. You know, every year around this time, I always got to try real hard to not smack upside the head all these hypocrites, snakes, and vipers who call undocumented U.S. workers illegals. I don't like getting angry, but this shit makes me want to flip a table. Illegals is a racist, dehumanizing, otherizing term. It's designed to make other people appear less than human, so you won't feel bad when you treat them inhumanely. It's a really shitty noun. Ask yourself this. When's the last time Fox News called any other kind of lawbreaker an illegal? If you do 56 in a 55 zone, aren't you an illegal too? Huh? Come on. Now, you wouldn't know it from watching Tucker, but the majority of undocumented immigrants in this country are people who overstayed their visas. However, every night on Fox, he who tucks in his brood of vipers say illegals, and they're always referring to brown people crossing a border. Here's a dirty secret. Politicians could end undocumented immigration tomorrow if they wanted by locking up the white people who do all the hiring. This is supply and demand economics, my friends. There's a gigantic help wanted sign at our southern border, and there's no wall you can ever build that'll be big enough to hide it. And politicians of both parties are in no rush to take down the help wanted sign. Rich people pay Fox people to make working people blame poor people. Now here's 10 facts about illegal people. Number 1. Undocumented immigrants commit crimes at a much lower rate than US-born citizens. Why? Fear of deportation. So imagine if we could do that to homegrown criminals. Number 2, undocumented immigrants pay state, local, and sales tax over $400 billion in 2017 alone. Those guys standing outside Home Depot looking for day labor work, they're not the ones who outsource your job to China. By the way, racist idiots, there are no national politicians currently calling for open borders or amnesty. Anyone who tells you there are is lying, or as I like to call it, bearing false witness. You know who did call for that? Ronald Reagan, that's right, the star of all your right-wing porn fantasies. St. Ronnie gave amnesty to millions of undocumented people and claimed that open borders allows them to just go home when they're done working here. But don't feel bad, you racist douchebags. Reagan still supported apartheid. You ever notice whenever they raid one of these meatpacking plants down south and they arrest several hundred illegal workers, they're a lot slower to arrest the guys in the back room who did the hiring, who are counting all the cash. And that is all the proof you need to know that the illegal immigration scare is regressive gaslighting bullshit. Donald Trump hires undocumented labor. Going back to the 80s, it was Polish workers who built Trump Tower, but they never got called illegals because they're white. Even as president, Trump continued to employ undocumented workers. He's now done it in 2 different centuries, all to avoid paying American workers a living wage. You are being suckered by millionaire at birth hypocrites. Does it physically hurt to be this freaking gullible? Oh, let's talk about the wall. You morons understand that they were never actually going to build a physical medieval wall for thousands of miles stretching across deserts and rivers and forests and private and commercial properties and seizing land from American citizens using eminent domain law, right? You understand that was a scam? It wasn't going to get finished. Mexico was never going to pay for it. And even if they had, twits, ladders and shovels are things. They looted the military for a scam. Steve Bannon was ripping people off and Trump pardoned him for it, and they are both now wagging their tiny junk at you. And that's not a pretty sight. The majority of American voters rejected Donald Trump's immigration agenda in 2016. The majority rejected it again in 2020, but he still has a chance to be the first man to lose the popular vote 3 times. I alone can do it. What a dick. So remember, MAGA dudes, one of these days, you're going to stand before St. Peter. And on that day, you will discover what extreme vetting really fucking means. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and forgive me, I should have said at the top of the video, I'm only dressed in the tunic because it's laundry day, and I had nothing else to wear. Oh, and I'm only wearing the fake beard to hide my rosacea, so that's... Oh, you thought I was trying to look like him? Dude, I look nothing like him. I'm white.
And I've rewired my brain to function. It's almost like I've become bipolar. I'm part Andy Ostroy, part Donald Trump. I've rewired my
don't
brain.
say that. I'll never talk to you again.
No, but in order for me to maintain my sanity, I have to understand him.
Oh, God.
Because if you understand him, you're halfway through the battle. So you look at the tariffs and the trade wars. Is it really about a sound fiscal foreign policy? No. It's about him getting up in the morning and go, watch this. I can move the markets. Okay, tariffs. Next day, markets correct. Watch this. I can get them back up again. That's it.
I think it's more malevolent than that. I think there's more going on there than that. I think there's a little money making going on there.
Yeah, there might be some market manipulation.
Yeah.
Somebody might be shorting and buying and whatever, but it's all a power trip. So whatever he does, it's to feed the ego, to make him look like the boss, and everybody around him has to play the emperor's new clothes game. It's like, and that's how I keep my sanity.
Many cases, these folks were not afforded due process. And the problem is the Supreme Court has handed down a decision to the Trump administration saying they must facilitate the return of Abrego Garcia. And now they've decided to completely defy that Supreme Court ruling. And so we are in a constitutional crisis right now.
Maxwell Frost, good on him for going down there, making the case. Here he is, one more.
This is the same president that in the Oval Office recently said the next people he wants to send to El Salvador are quote-unquote homegrowns, talking about U.S. citizens. And so we have to do everything we can right now. We went over there to try our best to see him, to make sure he's okay. But again, it's not just about him. It's about the broader issue as well.
Thank you, Maxwell Frost. Oh, by the way, so the Fox host that he had that was not aware. Will Cain was not aware that Trump had said he wants to deport homegrown Americans. Guess what he did? I'm going to do this from now on. He blamed his producers. I'm going to do that. I'm going to blame you and Bella for everything.
Why stop?
He blamed the people in his earpiece.
Why stop now?
I love this story. Fox News host launched into an indignant rant after admitting he had no idea that Trump said he wanted to send homegrown convicts to foreign prisons. He said he had no apologies for his ignorance of the widely reported news story and justified it by saying he instinctually rejected any criticism at Trump leveled by Democrats. Oh, I see, because it's automatically fake news on Fox News.
If it's a Democrat, right.
Even though it's on tape in the Oval Office, as Maxwell Frost pointed out to him. Kane's next response suggested there may have been a communication issue involving his producers. It's always the producers.
It always is.
Always. Not only did Trump mention homegrown criminals to Bukele, he did so to Kane's own colleague on Fox News. So he might have missed that one, but that was on their own network. Right. The Fox host blamed past Democratic hoaxes for his inability to recognize.
Hoaxes? What hoaxes?
He said after years of very fine people, among other hoaxes. Okay, that's where he's calling it a hoax that Donald Trump said there are very fine people in Charlottesville. He is on tape saying there are very fine people on both sides in Charlottesville.
But, okay.
Okay. All right. So that was his pathetic excuse. All right. You know who was our Representative Garcia from out here in California was also down in El Salvador.
He was.
Trying to get the release of Gilmar Garcia. And now we're going to talk to Deputy Garcia about that.
That's good coffee.
I take it black, like my man.
Coffee with Carlos Rocky.
I'll have a Zimbabwe latte. I'll have a Kenya cappuccino.
Jim never has a second cup of coffee at home.
Mountain grown coffee.
Carlos Rocky.
I was going to make espresso.
And baked by Juan Valdez.
Coffee with Carlos.
Good to the last drop.
Thank you for putting on the sunglasses.
Buenos dias. Yeah, yo estaba in El Salvador. See if I could talk to Abrego Garcia de Garcia. I told him we're going to do everything we can in Reno to get you back. We're taking all the money from our swear jar. We're going to try to get a lawyer down there. But I was telling Chris off air, we have something in Reno we call fondue process, which is where if you bring something to put in, melted chocolate, we're going to see our best to get you free.
Okay, it's like due process, but but chocolatey.
But chocolatey, but it's
bring
a horrible
pineapple chunk or a chocolate pound cake.
Yeah, I'm going to be heading up a university for the Trump administration. They thought I'd be a good teacher, so I could teach stuff about sheriffing and law-abiding on campus, and let's get off all the law-abiders.
Here is
the dislaw abiders off the campus, so I'll be teaching that,
good.
and I'll be working for Hegseth and doing his emails from now on.
Totally see Garcia working for Hegseth. Oh my God!
Yeah, I call him. We call him at the office. We call him Drinky Leaks.
Whiskey leaks. All right, here is Representative Robert Garcia following Deputy Garcia on Kilmar Garcia.
We obviously went there to ensure that he continues to be safe, that he continues to get access to counsel. We know that now that through the courts, at least the El Salvadorian government says that he is alive still. We hadn't heard that since Senator Van Hollen's visit. But this continues to be a very, very serious issue for him, his family, and the country.
Yep, and one more.
This case represents a Trump defying a 9-0 decision of the Supreme Court. But we also advocated directly to the U.S. ambassador there on the ground. It's clear from our meetings with him and others that the U.S. Embassy has received no direction to begin any sort of facilitation as directed by the Supreme Court, which is incredibly concerning.
Yeah, you can't say it enough, Carlos. We are in a constitutional crisis. He is defying court orders, Yeah.
And once again,
you've switched glasses, so you're back to being you.
I'm back to being normal colors.
Okay.
Everybody points to the Tate brothers case. Like, yes, if you can extradite the Tate brothers and get them out, you can clearly do this. A cost of a human life for him to admit a mistake doesn't mean anything to him.
Right.
The humans are expendable over his apologies.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to a sociopath. I can't be wrong. I can't back down. Although he's doing that with the terrorists with China. Okay, we're gonna soften up a little bit. It's like that's how scary, and that's a revelation of how sick in the head this guy is. He will not go save a human life for a mistake that his administration made.
Yeah.
All you got to do is do that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. It's part
empathy.
of them not being able to admit a mistake, even though in a court of law they had to admit that.
And even if these people accuse him, I saw a great Instagram from one of our listeners and followers about even if you think that this person might have been affiliated with a gang, that's what the courts are for.
Yeah.
Then you prove it in a court of law.
Yeah.
And even if he was affiliated with a gang in the past, has he done a crime?
Yeah.
Right now,
that's
that was
why
worthy
it's called,
of him being expelled. Right. Like every other Jan 6 rioter who beat up cops with flagpoles and bear sprayed them are out and free.
Yeah. Because they got
should be in El Salvador with this guy.
Yes.
Yeah. That's why they call it fondue process, as you say.
It's fondue process.
Deputy.
It's sticky and it's weird.
So we were just talking about, all these right-wingers, Megyn Kelly on down, bashing the Pope literally before he was cold, And you said, you tweeted, Happy Easter from an outsider who started in the really cool Episcopal Church. Maybe this year the real Jesus will have a word with Trump and those fake Christians. Never understand why the peaceful message of all religions is so ineffective to all of its worst followers. Yeah, I mean... It's literally they keep calling him the woke Pope, which is why I wore this today. And I'm like, I keep saying, I got really bad news for you about Jesus if you think this Pope was too woke, right?
Yeah, they're gone. He doesn't align with their cult. He doesn't align with this alpha male fantasy where Jesus is buffed and shoving poor people into the river. Jesus, can you heal me? Get out of my way, beta.
Get out of my way, soy boy.
Get out of my way, soy boy. I'm going to slap you with my open hand. Yeah, it's just sad. They're going to make up any excuse. Empathy, as Musk said out loud to them, is a weakness. And so anytime you show compassion, anytime you're not, taking their interpretation of the Bible, you're a weak lamb that just needs to be left out to slaughter.
Yeah.
Religion is
and
not...
I was saying, this whole,
right-wing hypocrites.
Thank you. They have so much to say about, I was saying, Megyn Kelly not only slammed the Pope, she slammed Barack and Michelle Obama's marriage.
Right.
Now, I am a single childless loser, so I don't judge other people's marriages. I'm not, like, I mentioned Megyn's on her second just because I can do math, but I'm not, it's just, they seem to think, I mean, Megyn Kelly said she doubts Michelle Obama's efforts to shut down the unfounded divorce rumors. She said, I think he and she both married the wrong people. It's amazing. Every word she says about Barack Obama is negative. That's completely not true. And how is their marriage her business, right?
And why are you focused on them?
Right.
Methinks you don't protest too much because your second marriage is probably going to end because the men got smart. and just went, okay, good looking lasts for a week, and then like yak, lie, I'm out. That's it, Alice. I'm out. I'm going to the moon.
The Stephanie Miller Show wishes nothing but success on our SiriusXM colleagues, Megyn Kelly's second marriage. Okay. The Obamas have been married
Dog
for...
does not like Megyn Kelly.
No, Faraway Dog does
hey,
not.
Faraway Dog, Megyn Kelly's here.
But, I mean, the Obamas have been married 33 years, right? Her guest said, I can't think of anybody I'd go to advice for less than Michelle Obama. She really doesn't know what she's talking about. Really? They have a 33-year marriage. You know, it's like, I feel like relationships
two well-adjusted kids, too.
Relationships are tough,
Why
right? I just think it's really a minefield to start criticizing other people's marriages or relationships, you know? I think it's because she didn't go to Trump's inauguration and whatever. It's like, well, you know what? She's not a political wife anymore. She doesn't have to go to a racist inauguration that she hates, that has been attacking her family for years and years, right?
Trump didn't go to Biden's inauguration. Again, these are just because somebody has a law degree and can be a host on a show and maybe academically smart, it doesn't mean they're adults. Megyn Kelly is Arrested Development. Never got the right psychological love from her parents. Never got the right emotional support from friends. She's
you know what, Michelle
child.
Obama, you know, it is a tough life. I can tell you, my mom, you know, it's just a political wife when my dad ran for vice president. To be in the Oval Office for 8 years, you know, for serve as first lady for 8 years, it's a lot of pressure and obligations and things that, you know, who can blame her if she didn't? And also, I don't think she wants to normalize Trump, who she despises, you know, I mean, who's been saying her husband's wasn't born here for however, you know, started his campaign on this birther lie, you know, well, go ahead. Yeah.
Why, if she were to show compassion, she would be just like the Pope and be woke and therefore be weak.
Right.
You cannot please cult members.
Right.
They're going to make up anything they want to be. So just stop trying to please
And it goes to, like, you know, why Bill Maher is taking so much justifiable blowback. It's like, don't go normalize this monster. And good for Michelle Obama for not wanting to, you know, play whatever her public role is. She's not first lady anymore. She doesn't have to go. I mean, I loved you said Bill Maher. Trump showed a side to me that none of us ever gets to see. Grizzly man. The Bears have accepted me as one of their own.
Yeah. It's the same thing. No, I can communicate. Help! I am wrong.
Yeah, that didn't end well. That didn't end well for him.
It did not.
No, it won't end well for Bill Maher. Why are you capitulating to this guy?
Yeah.
You don't need to go to Mar-a-Lago. You need to go, like I said, visit Michael Fanone. You need to go visit other Capitol Police officers who were beat up by this guy who started it. Don't go to the bad guy's place, Bill.
Did you read Larry David's piece in My Dinner with Adolf in the New York Times? Just so brilliant. I mean, it's Larry David, so of course it's brilliant, but just scathing and perfect.
Yeah. So we both went to the Adolf comparison, right? Yeah, he's a good guy. You know, he passed me the pasta. I don't know what he wrote, but I'm sure.
You do a better bear impression than Larry David, though, so I like the bear analogy. Okay. You also said, RFK Jr., I'm going to prove the earth is flat and unicorns are real by September.
I got it. I've got it. I've got all the data.
Him saying we're going to find the cause of autism by September means this stupid taxpayer-funded study that he's doing, you know, with all these quacks that have been debunked a million times, is going to say, oh, it's vaccines. Like, he's already obviously come to the conclusion. What's that?
And again, it's all performative. It's what Trump has told him to do. Look, this is what I want you to do. I want you to make a promise, then make up a bunch of stuff, and then in September, you're just going to throw it out there and people will believe it. Are you sure you want me to do that? Yes, I want you to do it. He's just capitulating to what Trump wants. Yeah. Everything is a performance.
Yeah. And
because
plus, I was saying,
just need to
by
see
the way,
something.
Full circle back to Hitler, because that's what we do here. But you know that he's going to do this national registry of autistic people using private medical data. Like, that is like, first of all, it's got to be illegal, right? I mean, is HIPAA no longer a thing? And autism isn't a disease. They're calling it like a disease registry or something.
It's genetically mostly formed or passed on through genetics. There are some environmental factors, but it definitely is not vaccines. It's been debunked and debunked and debunked. I don't know why Why don't you focus on not, staying out of the Shake Shack and pretending that those fries are healthy? Why don't you do that? Why don't you go, I was wrong. Shake Shack is not going to make you healthy. Why don't you develop an exercise program like Arnold Schwarzenegger? Get out and do pull-ups and push-ups and get on the chopper lots of times.
Shake Shack fries are delicious, though.
I was just going to say Shake Shack is delicious.
I love Shake Shack.
Okay.
But they're not a path to freaking...
but I don't eat it every damn day.
Not a path to winning Mr. Universe.
Right.
Look at those Shake Shack abs.
All right, 20 minutes after the hour, this portion of the show brought to you. Aha! J.D. Vance did not get to me first. I'm here. Hello.
You never know where J.D. Vance is going to turn up next.
Right?
Damien from The Omen. Okay.
Check his scalp for a birthmark.
Sixes.
He may as well go around now in a big cloak with a scythe.
Rudeness, to your point of what Senator Van Hollen just said in the tweet I just read, your piece is how do some Democrats not get that due process is the fight. And again, I think your point, too, is that we can walk and chew gum. Yes, the economy, tariffs, all that's right, obviously having its effect, but you also have got to, by the way, polling shows that he is now underwater on his apparently top issue, which is deportations and immigration. Yeah. So people do get it, Rude. You're right. People understand people being disappeared with no due process, right?
They get that, and on deportations and immigration. Remember, everybody thought, all these voters, that whenever they went on those Cletus safaris, reporters would hear from people saying, "Oh no, they're not going to. They're only going to go after the criminals. They're only going to go after the bad ones. They're not going to go after the ones that are making a life here." And it's like, no, that's not what he said.
Yeah,
that's the fantasy you're conjuring about this horrific thing that he's about to do, and now that he's doing it, people are like, "Oh, wait,
right?
That's not what I thought he was going to do."
My favorite line in your piece is, "Man, if a meatloaf like Joe Rogan understands how effed up it is, everyone gets it." He is a meatloaf. Yeah. He's just a human meatloaf.
Sure.
Yeah,
he is. You look at him and you go,
meatloaf.
That's somebody that is just all he is just a solid slab of dumb meat with a little spice.
Like someone used too many breadcrumbs. Something too much filler.
Too much hamburger helper.
Yeah, something. No, I
never made meatloaf, Chris.
I've never made it. I've had it.
I just like him saying hamburger helper. It's like no, hamburger helper. You got to saute it. It's
All right, let's move on.
You got to brown the vermicelli. Sorry.
So I had not seen this, but you were talking about Amy Klobuchar on one of the Sunday shows saying, while saying what happened to Garcia is effed up, said they're doing it because they want to distract people from the fact our economy's in a tailspin. She said they're following the law in other cases. They just decided not to follow the law with this guy. And you said she's completely effing wrong. They're not following the law in other cases, and it's very much not this guy. Every single man who was sent to El Salvador was denied due process for removal. In fact, it was not only so much not just one guy that the Supreme Court stepped in to say, whoa, mother effers, you can't send another plane load of people to another country without giving them their day in court. So I don't know what she was talking about, because that's the whole point. Shut this whole thing down. It's not just the one guy.
Right, and that's the thing, and that was weird with Klobuchar. It really is like there is this contingent of centrist Democrats that are just sitting there. They're like so gut level afraid that it might turn out that Abrego Garcia is actually some criminal mastermind and has been hiding it all this time by portraying a mild mannered sheet metal.
Like it's a trap, and where the Democrats are going to fall. I think also, Rude, it's this thing that irritates the bejesus out of me that I think they've been over lectured about. Democrats can't talk down to people, and they got to talk about the price of eggs and the economy, and that's all people care about. And it's like, no, we can care about due process as well. I mean,
right.
You said there's a strain of Democrats so devoted to making the battle over tariffs the main thrust of attack on Trump's and Republicans, they actually seem to believe the White House cannily created this situation with the alleged criminals and terrorists they rounded up and shipped them off to a hellhole to intentionally distract from the tariff madness. Mm-hmm. They can't see what really happened is that Trump bumble-effed his way into a situation where his deluded cabal of moronic goons and dim, drooling racists stepped on their own D's repeatedly, the legal bed, and now they're trying to hide that they bruised their D's themselves. They did bruise their own D's. You're correct.
They bruised legally, them repeatedly. Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing is like the thing about the tariff thing is it's hard to understand the tariff thing, and people won't understand it until they see a real hike in prices, which is coming.
Yeah.
That is going to happen. We're a little bit out from that. We're just starting to see the effects of it. But right now, it is so easy to comprehend what has happened with Abrego Garcia and with everybody that was denied their due process.
And then it kind of blows up in their face. Well, oh, dear. Yeah. Katy Perry has a sad.
Oh, no.
She was thoroughly mocked for turning the journey into a symbolic victory for women in space. It didn't help that NASA has been rushing to wipe any mentions of diversity and women in leadership from its websites due to Trump's anti-DEI agenda, an insidious initiative that Perry made no mention of. Yeah, I mean, Jody said that I think the fact they cut all this, you know what I mean, these women that actually work at NASA. Perry was also ridiculed for claiming the stunt was somehow for the benefit of Earth, which I just think, and also I think because the economy is getting so bad, people can't afford eggs, it's just, I think they're a little touchy about billionaires taking an 11-minute ride and saying it's, you know.
And again, pretty performative. Like you flash back in a time machine to the 1960s and like, you know, it's the equivalent of some girl going, we got to go on Jeffy's Stingray around the block and it was transformative. It's just because like a billionaire has a rocket. It's like, hey, man, you want to ride my bike around the block? It's brand new. Well,
that's what I think. It plays into...
Schwinn. Oh, my God, I'm so strong for women now. I got to pedal by myself.
It plays into people's anger at Musk and Doge and Bezos and, you know, these billionaires that are, you know, the only ones benefiting and, you know, rubbing it in our faces while,
at least,
you know,
Shatner
our retirement accounts are like, bye-bye. Huh?
Shatner?
Even Shatner's 90 years old, climbed up those stairs and he's like, yeah, it was pretty fun. It was kind of cool.
Katy Perry's wandering around afterwards saying, it brought me closer to love.
I just feel so connected to love.
Yeah, I'm like, oh,
it's
God.
too bad.
Shut up. All right, let me just say I love Katy Perry's music, and I love Gayle King personally. She's very nice to me. I co-hosted with her on Oxygen every week, so I feel bad, but yeah. I understand people's reaction. It's because we are in this sort of let 'em eat cake French Revolution feeling in this country right now, you know? Yeah. With what's happening in the Trump administration. Real quick, Sean in Michigan has an autistic child and had some thoughts on what we were talking about. Hey, Sean.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Awesome. So I heard you guys talking earlier about this list that RFK Jr. wants to make, and I hadn't heard it before, so this is the first time I'm hearing it. And you guys were wondering about HIPAA laws. And they have been, okay, so in my experience personally here in Michigan, every child that has autism or any special needs in school gets an IEP, which is an individualized education plan. Mm-hmm. And so that means since 1975, they have IEPs on record in these schools, and they own the Department of Education right now, so they can scour all the IEPs because I'm pretty sure they're all federally funded programs. So that's how they're going to get around HIPAA.
Yeah. It just feels very big brothery. And I was just saying, for the last 11 billion years, they kept trying to say, we're the small government party. We're the party keeping the government out of your lives. And it's just, every single thing they seem to be doing is just creepy and big brothery, isn't it?
It really is. I think I've learned a little bit from visiting Michael's Learning Place. Ed Lynch runs it in, it's on Rosecrans there in just past the airport in Inglewood. But yeah.
Our country is divided.
I'm curious, Jesus, you said that we have to love our neighbor.
Oh,
did you mean it like love your neighbor even if he voted for fascism, or is there a clause we missed? Do we still have to love them if they voted for racists and fascists, Jesus?
You know what? You know what? This is a bit of a tough one for me, I have to admit, because I do. It is in my DNA to love thy neighbor. That's sort of my whole thing.
Yeah,
I guess I would say you need to try to believe. You got to try to look for the best in people. And I think a good reminder is that we get down in all this fighting on social media time and time again. It's exhausting and you think everybody's evil. But when you actually go and meet your neighbor, maybe physically next door, you realize, oh, yeah, they did vote for Trump and they do want to roll back my rights, but they are still a nice person.
It's very confusing because they're just brainwashed. Yeah.
But this is why I like your son so much. He won't let me hate these people. He won't let me hate them, even when they're begging for it.
Okay, if you're a homeowner, you need to listen up. When is the last time you checked your home title? That is the legal proof you own your home. If you're like me, the answer is never. I was also like, what? Am I supposed to do that? The problem is, in today's AI and cyber world, scammers are stealing home titles and your equity is the target. Here's how it works. Criminals forge your signature on one document, use a fake notary stamp, pay a small fee with your county, and boom, your home title has been transferred out of your name. Then they take out loans using your equity and even sell your property. You won't even know it's happened until you get a collection or foreclosure notice. That's why you need to stop what you're doing right now. Find out today if you're already a victim. Use the promo code Stephanie14 at HometitleLock.com. Make sure your title is still in your name. You'll also get a free title history report plus a free 14-day trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title, urgent alerts, and they will expend up to $1 million to fix any fraud. Go to HometitleLock.com now. The code is Stephanie14. HometitleLock.com, promo code Stephanie14.
Listen, this is why it's important that potty mouths like you and I exist, because when he says, and that monstrosity was 3 days ago at the DOJ, where basically any speech that criticizes him is illegal. I mean, I say fuck that and fuck you. You know, I mean, and I'm laughing. I'm like, really? CNN and MSNBC are illegal, and Fox News actually had to pay $1 billion for lying to their audience about the election. That was illegal. That's why they have to pay merely $1 million. But I mean, I'm like, how's that, trip to kiss Trump's ring at Mar-a-Lago going, Joe and Mika? How's bending the knee going for people that are kissing the ring, right?
Right. And it's again, another cautionary tales. It's like, that's like such a sweet thing now to even think about cautionary tales. But just like with these Democrats who went along with the cloture, and then most of them didn't even vote for the fucking CR because they knew it's garbage. They all complied, obeyed in advance. Tim Snyder says, don't do that. Right. They did it anyway. And what happens, like you said at the beginning, the courts were holding, and now that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the courts were shut down. It wouldn't have mattered if federal workers were going to, be put on furlough during the shutdown. All of those things are happening anyway. And you just look like an idiot standing there holding his fucking water.
Well, hey there. This spring, don't just clean, organize once and for all. It is time to pull all those important documents out of junk drawers, file cabinets, stacks of paper you have piled up, and those password-protected retirement and bank accounts on your computer. You know what I'm talking about. Your next of kin is going to need access to those details someday. That's why the Nokbox was created. The Nokbox is a complete system that helps you organize all of your accounts, possessions, and estate plans, and each Nokbox comes with a comprehensive checklist that helps your next of kin manage your estate when you're gone. From your insurance policies to your funeral directives, your dog's vet information, that's important for me, even the code to your storage unit, the Nokbox helps you organize it all. If you've got a household, you need a Nokbox. And now, for listeners of The Stephanie Miller Show, save 16% off the Nokbox of your choice. Visit thenokbox.com today, get yours, and use the code Stephanie for 16% off. Trust me, your future self and your family will thank you. Himself, doesn't he?
I've heard he repeats himself.
Yeah, it is. It's shampoo instructions.
Pardon?
It's shampoo instructions. Lie, leak, blame, repeat.
Call Coffee with Carlos Alzraki. Oh, tomorrow on the big show we have Carl Frisch, Dr. Red Leonard, Michael Wolff, the author.
That's right.
And Dana Goldberg. Very, very exciting. All right.
Show.
Huh? Yeah, we keep saying there's more reporting every day just on the chaos, right? Oops, hold on. Here it is. As controversies pile up, Trump allies increasingly turn on one another. Every day is a new bag of rat story. Yep. Fight, big bag of rats. You're all equally awful. The infighting and backstabbing that plagued Trump's first term have returned as a threat to his second, with deepening fissures over trade, national security, questions of personal loyalty. The latest turmoil threatens to engulf the Pentagon because of
Drinky
McRepeaty.
Yes.
Trump's national security team was recently rattled by an Oval Office visit from noted lunatic Laura Loomer, who told him to fire someone, and then he did. Much of the tension connected to Trump's determination to use tariffs to rebalance the global economy, with officials often contradicting each other and occasionally turning to insults. Oh, that was Peter Navarro called... Elon Musk called Peter Navarro dumber than a sack of bricks. Right. And then he called him a car assembler or something. Yeah. I don't know. It's fantastic. Fight. Big bag of rats.
Yep.
Man, Laura Loomer's face looks like she's allergic to bees.
See, I went with suck started a Buick, but okay, I hear you. Yeah, it's
I like
something.
suck started a Buick.
Okay, something bad.
That's great alliteration.
Okay, all right.
Boy, he looks like he suck started a Buick. That's classic Maury Amsterdam. Hey, you young fans out there.
Yeah, Bella.
I'm not saying her face is puffy, but she looks like she started a Buick.
Bella has no idea who.
No
Maury
one does a Maury Amsterdam
No.
like Carlos Alzraki
Right.
does. Can I just say that? It's fantastic.
I'm sure it's so accurate.
It is very, yeah.
It's precisely accurate.
So, Carlos, by the way, they keep telling girls that they better start making babies faster. Isn't the Trump administration talking about?
Yep.
They mean white babies.
Yep.
Spoiler alert.
They're also
Yes, they want you to be a baby tennis ball cannon.
Yes, and they want to send they want to give more highway money to areas with higher birth rates.
Yeah. Oh, I meant a baby T-shirt cannon. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Back from our old radio stunt days. Okay, we got T-shirts, everybody.
It was that same sound effect.
Yeah, same sound effect.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. Yeah, same one. There we go.
But yeah, somebody probably got no money for programs once the kids are born.
First of all, do you know what it costs to give birth even with health insurance? Then there, no paid, maternal leave. No, they do nothing to help women. Like
just
Bella
spit them out,
Bella
make them white. We'll see what happens next.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bella was saying nobody her age wants to have kids.
No one. Only my male friends want to have kids.
Course, because you have to be the baby T-shirt cannon.
Yeah, of course. Can't wait.
But part of it is affordability. It's like paying off college loans, and then the Trump administration is not doing anything that would help women with the costs, right? I mean, first of all,
yeah, it's very difficult. Yeah, I've been lucky to have had a life which affords me the possibility to have two children and not sweat it out, not stress about it. Yeah. But as we go further for college, and if they get sick, if they're ill, there are costs. But I think psychologically speaking, people are just down with this administration. Who would want? My neighbors have had children recently, and I'm really happy for them, but I would just be so depressed to have a baby in this world with this monster joker as our president, and the country as it is, with people being mean and stupid and misinformation. I don't want to bring a child up in that.
Well, my friend was saying, her kids don't think the planet's going to be here. I love somebody tweeted yesterday, us, Happy Earth Day, the Earth, and it's a picture of E.T. dying in the creek. Just
we blew it. Ow.
Yeah, it's hopefully, because if children can't get educated through science and through technology to help the Earth, if we just want to pay $5,000 and give new freeway money to spit out white stupid kids, it ain't gonna happen.
See, I saved these stories for you because you live on Vagina Island with your wife.
I live on Vagina Island. I have
daughters,
two girls,
and you're obviously a beta soy boy. So I want to.
You know what? We went to Vegas, and there was a learning lesson there because in the room next door with the thin walls, my daughter's like, "Why is that lady moaning?" Well, they're playing a game.
Dear.
Oh my God.
No, I just thought this was interesting. More women are ditching the idea of marriage, according to a new study. According to a 2023 Pew Research study, about half of U.S. women don't view marriage as an important element of a fulfilling life. I'm gonna go with this. It's by choice.
Is that what happened to you?
Yes. All right. Not that I'm a lonely old spinster that can't find anyone to marry me. Bella, do you want to get married?
You're Mary Hatch. She never got married, George. She's at the library.
Let's see. Here we
You're
are.
not a librarian.
According to a 2022 Pew survey, 34% of single gals were looking for marriage, down from 38% in 2019. Almost 54% of women between the ages of 18 and 40 declared themselves as single. Once upon a time, women would hide their singleness, ashamed to not be settled down but with kids at a certain age. But nowadays, women are celebrating it, even openly talking about it on social media. One creator said, I don't think we get enough credit to single women who love being single because there's still the whole childless cat lady trope out there. Dog lady. Childless dog lady.
Right.
Yeah. You can enjoy life alone. You don't need someone to bear witness to your joy to make it exist, another person commented. One said, I literally love being single. I move on my terms and no one else's. I'm afraid I like being single too much now. I think I'm too weird. That's my problem. I think I'm too weird for being alone too long. Well. It's not a choice. It's just, yeah. There's been a simple but profound shift in the dating space. Women are realizing protecting their peace is their number one priority. Bella, this could be the relative douchitude of men.
Yes. Yes.
To this.
It's like, why would you,
bros.
especially just coming out of college, it's like,
Right.
why would you waste your time with little baby boys in college who have not really matured?
Right.
Like, there's been something going on, as
Right.
I've been saying,
Right.
but I work with a lot of, men between the ages of 26 years old to 30 years old,
Right.
and they act like the 22-year-old men that I spend time with. So it's like, where's this development?
Even the old said, when I got divorced, my life began. 45, single and child-free. I treasure this, someone else wrote. I'm just going to start embracing it, Chris, and pretending I did it on purpose.
Well,
that I'm alone.
Also, no, someone who lives with you also has to live with your life choices.
That's true.
Yeah.
So it's getting up at ass o'clock and just being generally weird.
Yeah.
Try having a roommate for life and then add kids.
Yeah.
We have a little bit of breaking news out of Illinois.
Yes, Christopher.
Senator Dick Durbin will not seek re-election.
Can I say good as much as I love Dick Durbin? I think that is part of, that we need to. And
Can you breathe?
Well, I have another email. We talked about David Hogg yesterday saying, that he's the vice DNC chair about primarying. But I was just saying it felt ageist, Carlos, because he said younger Democrats. And I just said, I feel like Durbin and Schumer, it's not necessarily age. The fact that they're old, it's that they're just not meeting the urgency of the moment.
Bernie's showing up at Coachella, so it's not age.
Elizabeth Warren, Maxine Waters. I don't think you want to give up Nancy Pelosi's expertise. I think she was wise to pass the leadership baton. But because interesting, Chris, this was a different take.
Yeah.
We had one that was support. And I support the idea of what he's talking about, but I just don't want more Democrats in disarray stories because the chairman of the DNC doesn't agree with what he's doing, and then I'm like, oh my God. But this is Tim's subject line was David Hogg is a spoiled little brat. He said, one, to win the House back, we have to flip red seats to blue seats. What David Hogg is doing is flipping blue seats to blue seats. How does that help us? Why doesn't he use the money to challenge incumbent Republicans in Republicans plus 5 or less districts? And who decides who's effective or not? David Hogg, Chris Lavoie, Bella? Who decides who is and who is not an effective congressperson? Well, I guess they're constituents, right? The only thing that matters is how a Democratic representative votes when it's time to vote. I don't need some 80-year-old person gesticulating on TV to pretend like they're meeting the moment. I only care how they vote when it's time to vote. I get his point. I was saying we were glad that David Hogg is part of leadership because I do feel like that we need the energies of him and the AOCs and But I'm just saying it's not all. Tim Walz did a great job out doing town halls and stuff. I don't think it's all age related. What do you think?
Yeah, it's not necessarily the age of the politician. It's the fresh ideas. Do you have fresh ideas? Do you have new ideas? Are you like Bernie going to Coachella? Are you embracing what the youth wants to have happen in their lives?
Well,
what are
we
you
just
protecting
said,
in the future?
Speaking of Illinois, I think Jan Schakowsky is an amazing progressive fighter and has been a long time. Yep. She's apparently going to get primaried by a younger person. So I don't, in Dick Durbin's case, I do just think, and I think it's Chuck Schumer. It's the way he voted. It's the way that whole thing went down, where people are like, "You have got to fight. This is fascism. You have to fight it on every level. You can't bend the knee. You can't."
Weren't there 4
capitulate."
Democrats that voted yes on the SAVE Act? So it's stuff like that. It's like, no, get out. What are you doing? They're trying to cheat. Why are you helping them cheat?
That being said, I'm getting a little tired of Gavin Newsom beating up on Democrats.
Yeah, he's trying to angle for that whole. He's kind of Bill Maher'ing it right now.
I hope Bella does honeypot big balls, and we find out that they actually hacked the election, and then everybody can shove their analysis of why Democrats lost right up their ass.
Yeah.
Because maybe we didn't lose. But anyway, Gavin Newsom is accusing the Democratic Party of not yet performing a thorough autopsy on what went wrong. I feel like we've done this endlessly. Have we not? He said, let's see. Newsom said if the party wants to find its way back from the wilderness, it has to be willing to look inward at what led to the losses. He said we've not done a forensic of what just went wrong, period, full stop. Again, I would disagree. I think the firing squad was endless after November. He said, to the extent I'm marginally part of this party. First of all, why does he say marginally?
Yeah, what?
Particularly if he wants to be the nominee in 28, which is clearly what he's
such an angler. Dude,
yeah, well, that's what I and we've always loved Gavin Newsom. We worked with him at Current. I loved his early stand for gay people. I love when he goes on Fox News and kicks their ass and is a fierce advocate for Biden or Harris. This stuff feels like he's putting his finger in the wind. It's like,
absolutely. Dude, I can't trust a guy that dated Kimberly Guilfoyle. Sorry. You're not a good decision maker.
He's happily married to someone else now.
He said, I represent a state larger than 21 state populations combined. I can assure you there's not been a party discussion that I'm aware of that has included the state of California. Well, I think we've had a national discussion on what went wrong. He said, I don't know what the party is. I'm still struggling with that. I mean, what is he talking about? Like, he's been one of the strongest advocates out there.
Gajillionaires dumped billions into the election. We couldn't compete with that kind of money and misinformation. Again, I always said we could have had the perfect candidate in 2024 and probably still would have lost.
He said, he made some good points. He said, I remind you, for those who think California is just a coastal state. I mean, he's obviously trying to move away from being the San Francisco liberal guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? He said, but this is true. You're from San Luis Obispo area.
Yes.
Yes. My favorite, most complicated college, California Polytechnic Institute at San Luis Obispo.
Yes. California Polytechnic State University. Something like that.
Yeah. I can say that even drunk. I love it.
California Polytechnical.
He said, I'll remind you, for those who think California is just a coastal state, we have 150% more ag, hunting, forestry jobs than the next state, 150% larger. So, when you talk about America, we're just America, only more so. He's clearly angling to run and trying to go to the center. He said, talk about flyover states. My state of mind is deeply entrenched in this rural mindset as I go back over and over again to the Central Valley. So anyway, he just went on to say, if you don't learn the lessons of the past, you'll repeat them. He said the fact that we're not even stress testing what the hell happened, again, I think we have. And he said the reaction when I had Charlie Kirk and Steve Bannon on was exactly, to me, Exhibit A of what I feel is wrong now with my party and unwillingness to even engage in a platform and to listen.
You could engage,
Carlos,
but
you don't need
ask
to.
tough
They
questions.
have their own platforms. You don't need to give them more platforms to put out their disinformation, right?
Well, if you want to engage, then ask tough questions. Put them to the wall.
Right.
Party with them and smoke a cigar with them like Bill Maher.
That's the thing. It's people like Bill Maher and Newsom buddying up and chuckling up with the Charlie Kirks of the world.
Charlie Kirk has no intention of changing his opinions either. Exactly. So why waste your time?
They're like, ever since Gavin Newsom's podcast, I'm completely woke now. I mean, it's so. But this is where the final part of this story, Carlos. So I felt like it's so finger to the wind. He was asked his thoughts on the electric rallies that Bernie Sanders and AOC are doing, and he said it's great. It meets the moment. It meets the zeitgeist, the energy. I feel like he's trying to have it all ways. It's like, yes, I want that energy, but I want to make sure I'm a rural guy. That hangs out with, Steve Bannon.
He's very
his calculation is as well groomed as his hair. He wants to make sure he looks right, he sounds right, he does the right things.
Yeah, I just think we want authentic. Whatever your age is, we want just the messaging and the urgency, but that it's authentic to you.
Yeah. I always tout Wes Moore. He's been a little less vocal than I would want him to.
Who agrees with him? Who agrees with him? Is it Nate Silver? Someone. I was like, oh no, Carlos is going to...
Didn't Malcolm Nance also...
Oh no, Nate Silver said he thinks... Wait, I can't remember. The AOC is going to be the nominee. I don't know. But then someone said Wes Moore or...
Malcolm Nance said Wes Moore.
Yeah. No, someone said...
Smart guy.
Yeah. Someone threatened to leave the party if it's not Wes Moore or Charles Barkley? That's who it was. Said if it's not Westmore
I'm gonna leave
or
this party. I'm gonna go to Subway and get a foot long. It's terrible.
Right, that's
it's terrible
what he said.
what they're doing.
I know. I mean, and then someone got mad at me for saying something about Newsom and like, well, he's going to be our nominee. Way to, pee on your nominee in advance.
Yeah,
That's why we're going to lose.
okay.
I'm like, wait, you're preemptively mad at me? Are we going to have a primary? He's not the nominee yet.
This is talk radio, so there's always going to be someone who's going to be mad at you.
Right.
But what are we talking about here, Stephanie, ad nauseum, is that you can, during the primary, you can have criticism of any candidate you want. You can dislike them, but when they are nominated
Thank you.
as
If
the nominee,
if Newsom's the
you
nominee,
get your worker bee wings on and you save the hive.
Absolutely.
You shut up and just vote.
Save the hive.
Save the hive, baby.
Okay. 50 minutes. Is that from the Bee movie? 50 minutes.
I have no idea.
Well, hey there. This spring, don't just clean, organize once and for all. It is time to pull all those important documents out of junk drawers, file cabinets, stacks of paper you have piled up, and those password-protected retirement and bank accounts on your computer. You know what I'm talking about. Your next of kin is going to need access to those details someday. That's why the Nokbox was created. The Nokbox is a complete system that helps you organize all of your accounts, possessions, and estate plans, and each Nokbox comes with a comprehensive checklist that helps your next of kin manage your estate when you're gone. From your insurance policies to your funeral directives, your dog's vet information, that's important for me, even the code to your storage unit, the Nokbox helps you organize it all. If you've got a household, you need a Nokbox. And now, for listeners of the Stephanie Miller Show, save 16% off the Nokbox of your choice. Visit thenokbox.com today, get yours, and use the code Stephanie for 16% off. Trust me, your future self and your family will thank you.
Hey, Fugelsang here. You guys know what's happening to the country, and corporate media is not helping. But when the White House Correspondents' Dinner fires comedians, it's time we take back the mic and brutally mock them in the process. Join me and the Political Voices Network for Not the White House Correspondents' Dinner pay-per-view special on Saturday, April 26th at 9 p.m. Eastern. Not just another comedy show, it's a no-holds-barred takedown of media hypocrisy, political BS, and sanitized news with over a dozen fearless comics and influencers bringing truth with punchlines, including Hal Sparks, Alonzo Bowden, Trey Crowder, a.k.a. the Liberal Redneck, Glenn Kirshner, Allison Gill, Brooklyn Dad Defiant, Dino Badala, JoJo from Jers, TV's Frank Conniff, and many more with special guest Miss Elaine Boozler. Catch the Not the White House Correspondents' Dinner live on April 26th instead of that other thing, or stream it on demand for 2026, because that's a good number to think about. Go to www.meethook.live/not and get your ticket, because when they silence comedians, we get louder.
Hi, and welcome back to day 92 of the first 100 days of the Donald Trump reign of terror, chaos in a blender, pandemonium, the destruction of humanity and democracy, all of the above. Today, after the death of Pope Francis, Marjorie Taylor Greene was welcoming his death by saying death to all the fake Christians. You gotta love that. Donald Trump did issue some nice things about the Pope, but remember, the Pope was all about helping the poor and all about education. Donald Trump doesn't care about the poor and, of course, has been sued by Harvard for trying to cut off their $2 billion grant because he just didn't like what Harvard has to say. So much for free speech. At the same time, Pete Hegseth, well, he's in trouble for exposing himself figuratively. Literally, he'll probably come later. But by sending out signal apps to his family on an attack in Yemen. You can't make this stuff up. The moron is not respected by the military, and who's surprised by that? 1 week left. We're headed into the home stretch. Stick around. The tension is nail-biting.
No, if it's him and Bobby Kennedy, it's Marco Polio.
Polio. Okay,
I love that one. Oh, it's funny. Not. Okay. Nope. Marco Rubio unveiled a plan yesterday to significantly reorganize the State Department, saying the redesign would reverse decades of bloat and bureaucracy. Guess what they're getting rid of? Human rights programs.
Oh, neat.
Because that's bloat. And others focused on war crimes and democracy. Yes, because we're not really, a democracy anymore, and we are currently engaged in helping Vladimir Putin and Netanyahu with war crimes. So it would make sense we wouldn't want to.
Yeah, and Vladimir Putin and the Russians kidnapping Ukrainian children and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, it's including shutting down the Bureau of African Affairs. I wonder why that. Because in case you haven't noticed,
Rubio, why are you still with that guy? You get the kids and get in a van and go to Disney World and just live in the castle until they have to root you out.
You can feel the cave coming from Trump on tariffs, right?
Yep.
The global economy will slow sharply this year, weighed down by Trump's imposition of the highest import taxes in more than a century, and the cloud of uncertainty that has billowed in their wake. The International Monetary Fund said yesterday Trump's double-barreled tariff plan will hurt the United States and its trading partners. The slowdown will be particularly sharp for the U.S. economy, which will grow this year at an annual rate that is a full percentage point below last year's mark. I mean, it really is fairly incredible, even for him, that he took the world's best economy that Biden left and has blown it up. Yeah. Oh, speaking of losers, Sarah Palin has lost again. Guys and gals. Yeah.
Her defamation kind of thing?
Yeah, she couldn't see the settlement from her house.
No.
A jury concluded New York Times did not libel Sarah Palin for an error in a 2017 editorial. It says her spirits drooped. She had a sad, she said. She testified. After an editorial about gun violence, said her political action committee had contributed to political rhetoric that enabled an atmosphere of violence. She did put a target over Gabrielle Gifford's district. Yeah. She absolutely. Yep. Anyway, so she had gotten a retrial and she lost because she's Lucy McLoserton from Losertown.
Yep. Speaking of town, I'll be in Hagerstown, Maryland this weekend. Come see me at the 4-State Comic-Con.
All right. I love you forever, Randy.